3DF Memphis. It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Happy Hump Day, everybody. Welcome into Sports 56 Mornings on this Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, their first ever preseason pool spa and patio event going on right now at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Pools starting as low as $19.99, spas from $29.99. Patio furniture sets starting at $7.99. And while you're there, register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Stop by today to sign up at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently, weather-wise, 62 degrees. It will get up to about 76 today. We're going to have decreasing cloudiness, but very windy today. There is a chance of a rain shower, but only about a 20% chance, and a very slight or marginal risk of severe weather. Tonight, mostly clear and windy, becoming cloudy after midnight with a low of 42. Then tomorrow, mostly sunshine, then some clouds roll in, but a high Thursday, Thursday, 56 degrees. That's it. So 35 degrees overnight as far as the low temperature is concerned. So not quite there to spring, although we're almost officially into spring. Coming up on the program today, the NCAA tournament is underway, and what a nice win for friend of the show, Tony Madlock, and his Alabama State Hornets. We will discuss the first two games of the tournament that took place in Dayton, two more on tap for tonight, and then the tournament begins in earnest on Thursday. We'll talk Tigers as they get set to head to Seattle today. Penny Hardaway had a presser yesterday and had some things to say about the walking wounded and other things of interest. The Grizzlies back in action tonight. Although John Morant will once again not be in action, the Grizzlies will play in Portland against the Trailblazers. We'll take a look at a light schedule from the NBA last night, but a couple of significant games when it comes to the Western Conference. The All-American teams were announced yesterday, and we'll tell you where P.J. Haggerty landed. Also, the Tokyo Series, Game 2 of the two-game set in Japan to open up the 2025 Major League Baseball season. Game 2 going on right now between the Cubs and the Dodgers. The University of Memphis held its Pro Day yesterday. We'll give you some highlights from that on the show. Craig Unger is going to join us at 8:05. He's the president of the Memphis Redbirds. On Monday, they will host the St. Louis Cardinals, the 25th anniversary from the first time the Redbirds hosted the Cardinals at AutoZone Park. They don't do it annually, but it's always cool when they get together, the parent team and the AAA affiliate. We'll talk to Craig about that and tickets and things of that nature. Jerry Palm at 8:25 will get his thoughts on the committee and the job they did with the announcement on Sunday of the field. We will not have DeMichael Cole on today. He'll be on with us tomorrow at 9:05. And then at 9:25, Parthu Pajai will join us before he jumps on a big bird and heads out to Seattle. Memphis Tigers basketball beat writer for the Daily Memphian. We even have a little high school basketball news. We'll have plenty more on Friday when John Varlas joins us, but some hardware was handed out yesterday. All coming up on the program today. Good morning.
Good morning.
Fired up, man. First game goes down to the wire. A kid from Bartlett, Amar Knox, who was originally a Memphis commit, wins it for Tony Madlock and Alabama State last night in Dayton.
Yeah, obviously cool to see that for Tony and with the Memphis ties to that team. But what an absolutely incredible game and ending to that game. I mean, that's if you're gonna kick off March Madness, that's a heck of a way to do it.
Yeah, it was dramatic. Look, was it a really well-played game? At the end, certainly not. There were a lot of nerves. There were chances for both teams, but they made some shots. There was a streak there for a while in that game when they just kept hitting shots, both back and forth. It was a fun game to watch. And again, that's what March Madness is all about. Sure, in the end, more than likely, the big names will shine. but to have the Davids, and in this case it was a David versus a David, but to have these types of matchups, and now they get a crack at Auburn. They'll play an in-state school who just happened to be a number one seed and arguably the best team throughout the year this year in college basketball. They get a chance to try to slay the giant. This is fantastic. Tony is a great guy. Played on that 92 tournament team with Penny Hardaway. They're the best of friends, former teammates. Tony's been on with us a number of times. Just good people. His son, TJ, playing for him, who played at Houston High State Championship. And then I mentioned Amar Knox. I think there may even be a third player from the area that's on that team. And so just to see that kick off the NCAA tournament was fantastic. Elijah, did you enjoy that, to open up the NCAA tournament?
Man, what a way to start the dance. I will say, I don't know if San Diego State quite got the memo in that second game, though, that they were supposed to show up.
So here's the deal. And, people are losing their minds. Oh, North Carolina proved they belong in the tournament. Here's the thing. I never bet heavy, but I bet all over North Carolina. North Carolina was the easy play in this one. The Mountain West, and this doesn't mean that Colorado State's going to succumb to Memphis. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But the Mountain West, to me, certainly overrated. I think the Big Ten and the Mountain West are just a little bit too highly regarded. I didn't think anything of San Diego State. I asked yesterday on the show, is this a similar San Diego State team? I didn't know much about them. That doesn't play any offense and is a defensive-oriented team. And I think we got the answer, but maybe we didn't, because defensively they didn't show up. Offensively, they were horrible. And North Carolina had a chip on their shoulder. There was no question North Carolina was winning that game. I did not expect them to win 95-68. That game was over 5 minutes into the game. But I expected them to roll. In fact, I had put together my office pool, my bracket, and before that game even took place, I even already penciled in North Carolina to beat Ole Miss. And that didn't come because of last night's game. I just had that feeling, and that's the feeling I stuck with. And then they went out there and looked great. Doesn't mean Ole Miss won't beat them. But North Carolina, at least for the night, with a chip on their shoulder or just purely more talent than San Diego State, mowed them down. But that doesn't mean that, it justifies them being in the tournament. They shouldn't have been in the tournament. They were in the tournament because of Bubba Cunningham. Nothing will change my mind. They were 1-12 in Quadrant 1. They didn't deserve it. But they got in, and it doesn't surprise me at all what they did last night.
No, I'm not surprised at all. All of the argument about whether they belonged or didn't belong, over the last basically 6 weeks, they've only lost to Duke and Clemson. That's the only two teams they've lost to. They're an elite offensive team and have been all year, and they've just got great players. And if they're going to shoot threes like that, if R.J. Davis shoots threes like that, North Carolina could beat anybody in the country. It was an offensive exhibition that they put on. They did whatever they wanted to do. Cadeau was great in distributing, and he even scored a little bit early. Then Davis got going. Trimble did his thing. They were just absolutely fantastic offensively. San Diego State is a good defensive team. They had no answers whatsoever for what North Carolina wanted to do. Early when North Carolina turned it over like five of their first 6 possessions, I was like, okay, maybe this is going to be interesting. But once they quit turning it over, it was just an absolute offensive masterpiece.
I think it was their first possession, and I forget who did it. He threw it right to the other team. I thought, was the fix in? What's going on here? And they kept turning the ball over. I'm going, this is ridiculous. Like I said, I was all over North Carolina, and then they started to put it into gear. This is a guard-oriented team. That's why I think they match up really well against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a guard-oriented team, but whoever wins that game, more than likely, Michigan State's going to take care of business, you would think. And then they run into the Michigan State forward line and those bigs. So right now, I think this is an interesting matchup of backcourts that will pit North Carolina and Ole Miss. But again, this does not justify them getting into the tournament. And you're right. The only teams they lost to were Duke and Clemson because everybody else sucked in the damn ACC. They were 1-12 in quadrant one. The bottom line is they should not have gotten in. I don't care. You could throw another metric at me. They did not deserve. How about this? One of the teams that was argued about that they should have gone in instead of North Carolina was West Virginia. The governor went crazy and did what he did. We talked about that yesterday. Lo and behold, Darian DeVries, the head coach, leaves Morgantown as he will become the new head coach at Indiana. Indiana goes outside the family completely. They bring in the West Virginia Mountaineer head coach. That means our buddy Ren Baker will be looking for a head coach. Bob Huggins is available, I've heard. But anyway, a little surprise there, wasn't it?
I don't know. I mean, DeVries is a hell of a coach and was very highly sought after last year with when he got the West Virginia job. Now he goes to Indiana. He's a Midwest guy. Indiana is, while they haven't had the recent success, I mean, it's still Indiana basketball. I mean, basketball means a hell of a lot there. There's going to be support for that program always. They haven't been able to find that right head coach to figure it out in basically the last 20 years. Maybe he's the guy. He's did a great job at Drake. It was 1 year at West Virginia, and many people will tell you they should have been in the NCAA tournament. Whatever, they didn't get in. But now he's got the tough task of trying to be that guy who can turn Indiana basketball around. And if you could be that guy who could turn Indiana basketball around, you will become an instant legend in that state of Indiana.
I don't think there's any question. But it is a hit for West Virginia. It's the double whammy. They don't get into the tournament. The governor makes a fool of himself. And then they lose their head coach the next day, basically. So,
I assume the governor is suing Indiana today. I would imagine.
Well, you got to believe that, right?
This is robbery. The only robbery bigger than this would be them not getting in the NCAA tournament.
Right, exactly. And who knows? The governor may have burned himself on coffee going through the drive-through at McDonald's. So there may be another lawsuit pending.
That Alabama State game, I still can't get over how good that pass was. Now there was luck at the end of it,
sure,
with the way that ball got tipped, but that was you don't see kids put that pass. Throw it as perfectly as that when you're talking about a full court baseball pass. And I mean, you couldn't everything about the play worked out perfectly. It was like the perfect Hail Mary. You had room behind the play. Where the ball came down, you had room behind it for the deflection to go backwards right to. But that kid, that was absolutely unbelievable to me how perfect the pass was.
After watching the last minute and a half where they were bouncing it off their legs, both teams, they were just so hyped up or just
the possession before at St. Francis somebody needed to grab the ball
from the big guy
and call a timeout. They were just in
panic mode,
freak out mode from the time they got that rebound. Just somebody grab onto the basketball, call a timeout, and let's settle down. But it was just free for all. And I'm like, oh God, you could just tell that was not going to end well.
Oh, right. But it never seemed like they could call a timeout because it never seemed like they had possession of the ball. They're bouncing it off their legs. The big's bringing it up. That's the transfer from East Carolina, and he bobbles it, and it's almost stolen, and then it's deflected, and then it goes off the guy's leg. It goes out of bounds. I'm like, what is going on here? And then you're right. Then the pass, which was almost perfect, but then it was tipped a couple of times and still ends up in the hands of Knox. And he has the right mind to put up the shot with 0.7 seconds to go to win it. And again, after the game, Tony's getting interviewed, and he basically says one more thing. Memphis, stand up, baby. You can't beat it, man. The advertisement for Memphis and a Memphis player and oh, gosh, to kick off the tournament. I mean, if that was in the middle of the tournament, it may have gotten glossed over. The first game, and here's Memphis making an impact. So I feel really good for Tony. And then the locker room speech and all that stuff. So he's a good coach. He's a good guy. I'm very, very happy for him. Tonight, you got the two games to wrap up Dayton, Mount St. Mary's, and American. American is a 2.5-point favorite. If you don't root for American? Are you, what are you? You communists? What are you? So there you go. You got the American and Mount St. Mary's. But then again, there's the whole Saint thing. Then you have Xavier in Texas, which I think will be very interesting. Texas, that run in the conference tournament, the SEC tournament, solidified their spot in the NCAA tournament, becoming the 14th SEC tournament team to get in the tournament. Xavier, I watched them a couple times this year, and I saw some good things and I saw some bad things. I saw some inconsistency. So I don't really know about this one. The fact that Texas played pretty well in the SEC tournament would probably tend to make me want to lean toward Texas, but Xavier's a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, this should be, at least on paper, it's a good matchup. Xavier was really good to end the regular season before they lost a tight game to Marquette in their first game of the Big East tournament that ended their 7-game winning streak. Xavier can shoot the heck out of the three. And if certainly we know that's the big thing in college basketball or end-level basketball. If you're knocking down threes, again, we saw what it did for North Carolina last night, but Texas can shoot threes as well. So this should be, just on paper, it looks like it should be a pretty good matchup.
And for all you degenerates out there who may have gambled on the NIT and maybe don't know some of the results from last night, it was Arkansas State, our friends from Jonesboro, routing St. Louis 103-78, a 25-point win. That game was played in Jonesboro. And unfortunately for the American Conference, one of their 4 teams played and lost. Wichita State lost at Oklahoma State by the score of 89-79. A few other games, Kent State over St. Bonaventure, 75-56. So it was indeed a Woj bomb. They bombed out of the tournament. Jacksonville State over Georgia Tech. Damon Stoudemire's Yellow Jackets out in the first round of the NIT, 81-64. Chattanooga and Middle Tennessee State played a triple overtime game with the Mocs winning 109-103. And then 2 late games, Santa Clara over UC Riverside, 101-62. That's the team with the controversy with South Alabama. That's the team that they rescinded an invite to South Alabama to put that team back into the NIT field, and they went out and lost by 39. And then also Stanford, of course, from the ACC, beat Cal State Northridge 87-70.
Yeah, not much close basketball in the NIT. And, the closest game was a 10-point game in the NIT last night. It was not real competitive in the first round of the old NIT.
I got to be honest with you. I forgot it had started, but I saw a tweet on Arkansas State's win, so that's when I checked out. Oh, yeah, the old NIT started. Let me go check out some scores.
Have you seen the field, by the way, for the college basketball crown tournament?
I have not.
I glossed over it, but I don't even remember it.
I don't know why. I guess Fox just wants the programming for this time. Well, it'll be later. It starts on, I think, the 31st of the month. They've got 5 teams with records below 500. Like, they just got bad teams. They've got DePaul at 14-19, Butler at 14-19, Colorado 14-20, Arizona State 13-19, USC 16-17, Utah, who's at 500, 16-16. Like, do we really need these teams in postseason basketball? Like, we got to create another tournament because DePaul needs a place to go for the postseason,
right? With
their 14-19 mark. Like, the hell are we doing? Like, what in the world is Fox putting the money into this for?
Right. It's programming, like you said. But, yeah, we don't need the tournament. We don't need the teams in there. But remember, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you go over the field and that there's a couple of Big 12 spots that are automatic and a couple of Big East spots that are automatic? So once you lose those teams to the big dance, you're going to be left with teams under 500.
No, yeah, I know. Again, it's just it just amazes me that I don't know what their I'd like to see the budget and the finances of this thing. It just blows my mind that this is the extra tournament we're going to throw in there with 6 teams with a record of 500 or worse.
Well, we still have the CBI. That tournament's still around. Look at the teams in the CBI.
Well, yeah, that's been around and it's garbage. We know that. But this is like, hey, we need another tournament. We're going to throw another tournament together.
I understand. By the way, I'm looking at the CBI. Is it only 8 teams? 7 of them actually have winning records. Only Presbyterian under 500 at 14 and 18. Don't you pay to be in the CBI? Is that the one you pay to be in? And then the other one's gone, right? The CIT is finally done. I guess replaced by the Crown. So how many total teams in men's basketball play in the postseason? You know, Elijah? You got 68.
32, 16, and 8.
So it's 100. What is the other two?
124.
124 teams in postseason play. But they want to add more to the NCAA tournament. It's ridiculous that some of these teams are playing. But it is 2025.
Well, percentage-wise, that's a lot less than what
I guess
college football.
It's about a third, maybe, roughly. But
in college football, half the teams are in the postseason.
Yeah, but it used to be where you had to be 500 or better, and I think it's still that rule still exists. Although once in a while they have to pluck in a 5 and 7, but for the most part, at least they're 500 or above. This is more like high school football when you have that 1-9 team that's in the first round of the playoffs getting beat by 45. It doesn't make sense to me.
The question I have too, with that college basketball crown, so it's starting on the 31st. Do these teams? I guess you just get to practice for the.
It starts on the 31st?
For 15 days, and then you finally go play the game?
Really? It starts on the 31st?
The 31st and the 1st are the first round. And I'm not sure what the next round is and all that. I mean, they're doing it. They're not going to go head-to-head with the NCAA tournament. They're waiting basically until the NCAA. They get off nights at the NCAA tournament and all that. But, yes, I don't know if you just putting together 15 or 16 days of practice to get ready for the college basketball crown.
They're going head-to-head with the UFL.
And I wonder how many kids on these teams are entering the transfer portal before they're playing in the college basketball crown. Again, when you've had a 14 and 19 season, do you really go, oh, I'll hang around for this?
I have no idea.
This tournament. I guess it is a trip to Vegas.
I was going to ask, what is the reward?
From a kid's perspective, you can say, hey, man, if they're going to take me to Vegas, I'll hang around to go to Vegas.
What are schools making going into the crown? What does the school and thus the conferences make from appearing in this made-for-television, we need programming tournament? I don't know. But you're right. For the kids, for the young men, for the staff, they're going to Vegas, baby. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, Memphis basketball. We'll tell you about when they leave the Laurie Walton Basketball Center this morning, heading to Wilson and jumping on a bird and heading to Seattle. You can help send off the Tigers. I'll tell you what Penny Hardaway had to say about the team, about injuries from yesterday's press conference. When we return, we'll get into the Grizzlies as well, as they're back in action tonight. Some other NBA games from around the association, although it was a light night in the NBA. We'll talk about that. We got NFL news. We got Pro Day news from the University of Memphis. The Tokyo Series of Major League Baseball, Game 2 of 2, going on right now as we speak. It's all coming up as we continue on the program. I do want to tell you about Shoot 360 Memphis. You know by now, Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility. There's several of them around the country, but there's nothing else like it. And in Memphis, you have 2 different places with Shoot 360 technology. You have the original in Collierville, and then you have that new 50,000 square foot facility in Cordova. 2 locations. You can become a member at both or either. But again, there's nothing like there's training, there's basketball training in Memphis and in every city. But when you have Shoot 360, like Memphis does, it's far and above everything else. Modern technology, they use analytics, gamification, but they also give you that instant objective feedback through the analytics and through the one-on-one expert coaching. So the combination of the numbers and the human touch as well, that one-on-one that you get from Shoot 360 Memphis with coaches that have been around the game a long, long time. In fact, they have free coaching clinics. So for all you coaches out there, you want to go check out their free coaching clinics. All you need to do is contact them, find out when the next one is being offered. But for all you individuals out there, and for you parents and grandparents, this is a great birthday present, great graduation gift, a membership to Shoot 360 Memphis for those basketball players in your family. Become a better shooter, a better all-around player. For the little ones, they learn how to pass the basketball and do some other things and do it through gamification. In fact, having fun. They're hitting targets with chest passes and bounce passes and scoring points. It's fun for all ages, playing basketball and becoming better at playing basketball. So if you'd like to become a member, go online to Shoot 360 Memphis or call them. Find out more about them, set up a tour, or just stop by in Cordova. You can call them, 901-779-3176. In Collierville, you can call them at 901-316-5500. Do yourself a favor. Check it out. Join for a monthly membership. If you don't like it, that's fine. No harm, no foul. If you like it, then you can go ahead and put up, month to month, or go yearly if you'd like to, as far as your membership is concerned. But let us know what you think when you join Shoot 360 Memphis. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I pluck Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Fiveash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? We have it covered at Humdinger. It's quick, it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. Many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Plus finance through KFA, K4 SDO 87712, MSRP 25320, K5 S53 28285, MSRP 28455, Telluride SG 596 MSRP 41060, includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 4/2/25.
Hey, I tracked down my buddy Jeff Allen over at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. Hey, what's up, brother?
We're ready to rock over here, Randy. 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia K5 GT Line, $199 a month. And a 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive with more power, larger cargo area, and more ground clearance than a Nissan Pathfinder. $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing. 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah. Online anytime, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calv Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calv Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calv has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calv Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calv Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, 1 block north of Summer and Mendenhall. This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's gotten heavier out here in the last few minutes with a little bit more volume as we check it out live on I-40 at New Airline Road. All that traffic coming in from Fayette County into Shelby County. It's trying to load up with some more volume inbound on 385 Billboard Parkway as you come in from Collierville. Typical traffic volume, if you want to call it that right now, for this time of the morning up through Midtown on 240 North there at Norris. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area for well over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, you'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 morning on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 7:30 the time. Tokyo Series. Dodgers lead the Cubs 6-3. Bottom of the eighth, 2 outs. Cubs batting. And so unless your Cubbies can come back here, it's going to be a 2-game sweep for the Dodgers.
We will not be the only ones getting swept by the Dodgers this year. So the Cubs play the Dodgers 5 more times in the month of April. But luckily, they'll be done with them then.
Shohei Ohtani has a home run. That certainly makes the Japanese fans extremely happy as they're watching 5 Japanese players, former Japanese stars that have gone on to the major leagues, combined in this game with the Cubs and the Dodgers, or this series. You got 5 Japanese players. But, yeah, Shohei Ohtani, he's pretty good. This just in, breaking news. What are the chances the Dodgers go 162-0?
Can't go 162-0 if you don't go 2-0. Sasaki making his debut. Cubs had plenty of opportunities. He kept walking guys, but the Cubs couldn't get any hits off of him. He's got some nasty movement. Like all those guys do. His stuff, his split finger is just crazy. He's got. I mean, again, it's just the rich keep getting richer, and he was good. And the Justin Steele was not great for the Cubs today. Gave up a couple of home runs, and it's going to be a 0-2 start to the season. Then got to sit on an 0-2 record for 8 days or whatever. By the way, Fox, which I didn't even know this. I found this out.
They're not there. Is that what you're going to tell me?
Yeah, they're not. The announcers aren't there.
Right.
They use a different play-by-play guy today. They can't even use. First of all, I don't know why you wouldn't use your A crew, your number 1 crew for this. And number 2, you use the 2 different play-by-play guys. It's like, can you make a little bit bigger deal about this being the opening days of the first 2 games of the Major League Baseball season? The fact that they changed play-by-play announcers.
Right. Adam Amin? Is that his name?
Today is Amin. Yesterday was Benetti.
Did you hear him blow the call on Ohtani's home run?
I did not. I wasn't listening to it.
Oh, yeah. He called it a double, and then he changed to a home run, just absolutely blew the call. And, again, you're doing it from the studios of Fox and not in Japan. Sometimes those things happen. All right, so the Tigers will be heading out of Memphis. Well, at least they'll be heading to Wilson Air at 8:45 today. And they're hoping that you'll be there for the send-off, maybe before you head to work, over at the Lori Walton Basketball Center, 8:45 this morning. So a little over an hour from now. If you want to see off the Tigers as they head to Seattle, they'll play 1 o'clock on Friday against Colorado State in the West Region. Yesterday, Penny Hardaway and some of the players met with the media. Penny was asked about the injuries to Tyrese Hunter and to Dante Harris. And he said about Hunter, small chance Tyrese plays, wishful thinking. Also with Harris, he said he was a little bit further along than Hunter was. But as I'm listening to Penny, I could see Tyrese Hunter come out of the training room, and I could see him limping. I mean, really badly limping. So I don't know if either of these guys are going to be able to participate. You hate that because P.J. Haggerty and Nicholas Jourdain were the 2 players that were talking to the media, and that's what P.J. said. I'm heartbroken for my teammates if they can't play. And, yes, you work your tails off to get to this point. Now, Hunter's been in the NCAA tournament before. Harris has as well, I believe, when he was at Virginia. I could be wrong, but, Jourdain and Haggerty talking about having their first experience. This is why they came to Memphis with the hopes of playing in the NCAA tournament. It took year 2 for Jourdain in Memphis. It took year 1 for Haggerty. But Penny was very, very complimentary of Colorado State. He's looked at the tape. He's broken down the tape. He says they're more, and he didn't use the word Picasso, but he was basically explaining that just they're beautiful to watch. The way they move around the ball, and there's all kinds of cutting. There's movement away from the basketball, and that's really, really nice. He says we're not some masterpiece to look at. We don't always look great, but we get the job done. And I think he makes a good point about that. They're not a big front line, so you would think that they can get the ball inside. They better be able to Dane Danger and let Dane Danger do his thing. A lot of pressure now goes on the shoulders of Baraka Okoje, who I imagine is going to be the starter, with P.J. Carter coming off the bench, continuing to come off the bench. But he was very optimistic. He talked about he wasn't surprised. He said, look, I felt we deserved a 5 seed, and we got the 5 seed. So there was no disrespect. So he was also complimentary, I guess, of the committee that they were where he thought they should be after all the work they'd done. And it's nice to know that all that hard work paid off. It wasn't for naught. So now you just got to go out there and play the basketball game. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be minus a player or two, and one of them being a starter. Not 100%, but it doesn't look great. But they're confident they can go out there and take care of business and get a win on Friday, and then see what happens between Maryland and Grand Canyon.
Reggie texts in. He says, this may be the year of the sprained ankle returns. Janai Broom came back quickly. Cooper Flagg came back quickly. And maybe just Tyrese Hunter and Dante Harris will return. Each team won without their injured stars, so why not Memphis?
Well,
Cooper Flagg has not returned yet.
No, he hasn't.
I believe he's returning, and we'll see when he actually returns.
There's also no confirmation that it's a sprain. Hunter. We don't know. There's a lot of rumors out there that it's worse than that, but I don't know. Harris, I believe that one is a sprain, but he looked bad walking around, I'm telling you. But it doesn't mean, again, they won't, you do a little shot and you go out there and you play. If you can move and you can't hurt it worse, that's the doctors and the coaching staff and the player himself talking about that stuff. We're not privy to that information. So I don't. What you don't want to do is have a player out on the floor who can only move at 80%. It's a detriment to the team. You have to play with the other guys you have. And that's just the way it is. But you have Haggerty. He's your leader. He's your scorer. You have Danger. He's been dominating inside. Colby, I asked Penny, aside from Haggerty and Danger, who is the third most important player on this team for you to have success on Friday and throughout this tournament, he didn't hesitate. He said Colby Rogers. And they do need that third, because if Hunter's not playing, they miss that third. Colby's going to have to step up. He's going to have to be more aggressive, wanting to shoot the ball more, having the confidence in his shot, knocking down some threes, distributing. He's going to be a very important player. I can't argue with Penny. I thought he might have gone with like a Kojay. Like, he's going to have to be really, really good. He's a good defender, but can he run the offense? Now, Haggerty's going to get the ball, and Haggerty's going to drive a lot, but bringing up the ball, the inbounds and things of that nature is going to fall on the shoulder of a Kojay. They don't have a lot of ball handlers. When you think about what this team has, they're very, very thin. But again, if you want to go see them off to Seattle, you can go over to the Laurie Walton Basketball Center. They're going to be leaving at 8:45, so again, a little bit over an hour. Speaking of P.J. Haggerty, yesterday, All-American teams. Was this the AP yesterday?
Yes.
Because there's several All-American teams, and Haggerty now, for the second time, has been named to the second team of an All-American team, this time the Associated Press. And he said, somebody asked him, he goes, he's so quiet. He's reserved, and he talks very low. He comes really close up to the mic and goes, I got snubbed from the first team. I don't know if he got snubbed or not, but certainly you can make the argument that he was a first-teamer. I think second team is where he should be. Not, again, that he didn't play like a first-teamer, but I look at the first team, Janai Broom, Cooper Flagg, unanimous selections, right? Nobody's going to argue that. Braden Smith for Purdue was fantastic, although Purdue faded down the stretch. Still a capable team. You lose Zach Edey. Braden Smith really stepped up. Walter Clayton Jr. for Florida. Okay? Hard to argue that. And then Mark Sears for Alabama. Probably came down to, I don't know what the voting ended up being with the other three, but it probably came down to Haggerty or Sears. Maybe Smith. But Haggerty gets in as a second-teamer. J.T. Toppin. Is it Tonji from Wisconsin?
Tonje, yeah.
Tonje. Cam Jones from the University, not from the University of Memphis, but from Memphis and Marquette University. And then R.J. Lewis Jr. make up the second team. Third team included Zakai Ziegler. And then some of the honorable mentions included Chaz Lanier from the University of Tennessee. Hey, the fact that Zakai Ziegler, now he did miss some games with injury, but he was a third-teamer. He had a darn good season. So I think P.J. Haggerty is probably where he belongs. Just short of number one, just short of the first team, but a second-teamer.
Yeah, I mean, that group of guards, with Smith and Sears and Haggerty and, some people voted for Chaz Lanier, second team. Ziegler, even up there, Lewis, all these guys. I mean, Cam Jones, like you could have sorted those out in a lot of different ways. But certainly, I don't think there's any. You could have easily seen Haggerty make the first team, but there's certainly no shame in being second team, and all of those guys that are on that first team are very much deserving of first team honors as well. It's hard to sort them out, and when you're looking at guys, especially guys who are doing it, for Sears and Clayton, when they're putting up those numbers and doing those things against in the best conference possibly in the history of college basketball, versus a guy like Haggerty, who, while he did, played a lot of good teams in the non-conference, then goes, 2.5 months without really playing anybody. So some guys will look at that and try and decipher those numbers, all of that stuff. So good for him. Second team. Again, nothing to be ashamed of, that's for sure.
Well, think about this. The Tigers had the player of the year in the conference. They had the newcomer of the year in the conference. They had 3 first-team all-conference selections. They had the coach of the year. They earned a 5th seed from the selection committee. And P.J. Haggerty's a second-team All-American. First of all, it shows you what type of season it's been for Memphis. But it also shows you that there was no disrespect. After all this talk and conversation about what could happen, Memphis was respected for what they did.
I agree. That's not possible. Memphis never gets respect from anybody.
This year,
it's always disrespect when it comes to Memphis.
Yeah, I know what they say, but this year was absolutely respect, and Penny alluded to that in the presser. Now you got to go out there, even if you're minus one of your Warriors or 2 of your Warriors, and you have to go out there and prove something. You have to go out there and win the game. Again, I look at this season and I say, if they win a game, you look back at this season and go, it was a great season. It was a great season. If they lose the game, you're not going to walk away and go, oh, it was a disappointment. Because it wasn't. It was a good season no matter what, but it could be a really, really good season if they win a game or even more in the NCAA tournament. To win the conference tournament, regular season, to win the conference or the conference regular season title, the conference tournament title, all those accolades that came with it, as I just mentioned, winning some of the games they won against the competition they played non-conference, bouncing back from last year. This has been a successful season. But again, you're going to leave something out on the table if you don't get an NCAA tournament win, especially when you are a 5 seed. So people will make excuses. The Tigers aren't. They're not making excuses. They feel really good with what they have, even if they're minus a player or two, to go out there and beat Colorado State. And we'll see if my theory about the Mountain West holds true in this one. It may not necessarily do so, but I think Colorado State, who's as hot as anybody and plays really good, fundamentally sound basketball, played in a conference where I just think it was overrated. And I think if Memphis plays their game and doesn't throw the ball all over the gym and turn it over a million times, should be able to dominate inside, maybe even beat them in transition points and win this game. I like Memphis in this game. And we'll talk a little bit more about the NCAA tournament later on in the show. Yesterday we took a look at the South region. We'll take a look at least at the West, if not the West and the East today, and then do so tomorrow as well before we're ready for the tournament to begin in earnest tomorrow with all kinds of action.
Couple of texts here on the Sissies Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255 on last night's game. David texted in. He says, it obviously worked out, but the possessions should have been flip-flopped at the end of the Alabama State game. He said they launched the pass as if there was a half second to go when there was 3.5, and then St. Francis throws a short pass for a three-quarter court heave when they only had 1 second left. Yeah, I will say I was not at all expecting the full-court baseball pass with 3.5 seconds to go.
And nor was St. Francis, even though they did tip it originally.
Like that was not, you don't see with that much time, you really don't see anybody do that. And with 1 second left, I mean, you're just
getting in bounds.
I would have thrown it further up the court because they had more room up the court. At least try and get to like half court for the guy to get the shot. I mean, if you throw one of those baseball passes, if it gets tipped at all, the game's over. So you're with 1 second. But like where the guy caught it, like they could have led him further down the court. He had room to at least try it from like half court rather than the other free throw line.
Yeah, look, I understand the texter. The bottom line is at the very end, you're panicking and you're just trying to make sure you get a shot off, which he did, but it was nowhere close to the bucket. But yes, I'm with the texter on that first shot because I was surprised. I mean, I'm looking at my phone and watching the game, and when I looked up and I saw the baseball pass, I was like, wait a minute, there's a fairly good amount of time left on the clock here. What are they doing? And it nearly got stolen, but instead the tip drill went the way of Alabama State, and then Knox makes the play. And, you know, we've seen it so many times in the history of basketball, and we've seen it in football. With a tip that goes in the end zone, they get a touchdown. We saw it in the NFL this year. Always seems to pop up every once in a while in football, but in basketball, it's tipped. Guy gets it, puts in the shot in the final moments, and it just happened to be Alabama State's night. They got the bounce to go their way, and we're very happy for that because of the whole connection with Memphis and the connection with Tony Madlock, a friend of this show and a former Memphis Tiger. So that was really fun to watch. But yeah, the texter's absolutely right on with that.
Raider Corey says, I felt like I was stealing money when I bet heavy on North Carolina. That was the ultimate motivation that those college students needed. Davis as well. I don't feel bad, though. No, you should never feel bad about winning bets.
No, take it to the bank, brother. I mean, I probably didn't go as much as you did, but I had to go heavy on North Carolina. I just felt really good. It was 4.5. I expected that line to be 7.5, 8. And to get it at 4.5, I was extremely happy about that. All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk some Grizzlies. We've got some NFL news as well that's breaking. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Owning your own home is wonderful, and buying your own home can be wonderfully easy. If your agent is Margie O'Neill of Remax Expert, Margie has over 20 years of experience in helping folks just like you find their new home. Buyers market, sellers market, up and down markets, Margie has sold them all with a dedication that makes it easy for you to buy your new home. Margie O'Neill at Remax.net. That's MARGIE.ONEIL at Remax.net. Or call 901 685-6000 for your new home. Margie O'Neill makes it easy.
All aboard, football fans! The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
We are ready to meet anyone on your new Hyundai from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
341,155, MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411, MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185, MSRP 27,020. Sonata RA 415,696, MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings. Good morning on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Congratulations to Fred Smith Jr. from Briarcrest and to Quez Butler from Whitehaven, both named Mr. Basketball winners. I'm sure John Varlas will have much more on that when he joins us on Friday. That was announced yesterday. NFL news, according to Tom Pelissero, the Vikings are moving forward with J.J. McCarthy. The team is not pursuing Aaron Rodgers. The team does plan on adding a veteran quarterback, but they're going with McCarthy. So that means Rodgers, it's basically down to Pittsburgh or the Giants or retirement. Anybody else out there? That's even a possibility? I don't think so, right?
Unless the Titans that decided not to draft a quarterback and wanted him possibly there.
Although it seems like now all the draft experts have the Titans not only leaning but heavily leaning toward taking Cam Ward with that first pick. And I would imagine that would make Mr. Mayonnaise available, but not sure if there'd be a lot of takers. Although I'm a little surprised that they would give up on him that quickly. But Cam Ward, if they think he's the guy, then that's who they're going to take. Also, from the local business world, saw yesterday that the $80 million, the first funds for FedEx Forum, passed the city council. It'll be used on deferred maintenance and to kickstart the design plans at FedEx Forum. So it's been a long time coming, but it looks like finally things are in motion. The Grizzlies tonight at 43-26 will play in Portland against the Trailblazers, who are 30-39, but have played much better basketball over the last 3 weeks or so. John Morant once again is out. G.G. Jackson is out because he's been reassigned to the Hustle. Santi Aldama, Scottie Pippen Jr. are questionable.
Yes, certainly with Aldama, this should mean he plays because he went through the doubtful, questionable upgrade. Pippen, we'll see. Hopefully with the questionable, I guess he'll be able to play, so they at least have one true point guard. But a game that certainly they need to win after losing to Sacramento. Can't get off to an 0-2 start on this road trip. Portland certainly is no pushover, but a team that right now you just you have to go in there and find a way to win this game tonight.
Last night, in a very abbreviated schedule in the NBA, there were some games of interest. The Clippers over the Cavaliers, 132 to 119.
Yeah, they had their full lineup. This was the first time, I think, since in a long time that they had everybody, and Kawhi was great. Zubats went off, had a 20-20 game. Kawhi had over 30. Harden had over 20. Not good news that they've gotten everybody healthy and on the court right before the Grizzlies go there to play them. But the only thing they don't have is their head coach. Tyronn Lue missed the game again last night. He's been missing games here recently with some sort of back issue. Jeff Van Gundy actually also missed last night's game. They were without Lue and Van Gundy on the bench last night. I don't know what the situation is for those guys for the game against the Grizzlies, but they do have the players, and that's more important. And they were really good last night. That was an impressive win.
Also last night, the Warriors and Steve Kerr came out and said, "Look, we have to give Steph rest. He's been carrying us," and they did, and they still won, and they beat the Bucks 104 to 93. So the Warriors still in sixth in the West. They're 3 games behind the Grizzlies and the Lakers and 4 games behind the Nuggets and the Rockets with time running out. But more importantly, they stay a half a game up on the Timberwolves and a game up on the Clippers for that final spot in the playoffs. The Timberwolves, Clippers are the first 2 in the play-in, followed by the Kings and the Mavericks. It's going to be quite the race the rest of the way. Even for that 10th spot in the play-in, which the Mavericks are hanging on by the dear lives or for their dear lives, Phoenix is just a game behind them to get that 10th spot and knock Dallas completely out of the postseason, which would be apropos with what's happened ever since the trade of Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, who may be back Anthony Davis for the stretch run. That's the word. So anyway, you got some real excitement going on down the stretch in the National Basketball Association. When we come back to open up hour number 2, the Cardinals are coming to town on Monday to play the Redbirds, and we got some special things happening as far as that's concerned. Also, don't forget about our $98.50 giveaway, Eli.
That's right. Yeah, somebody today will win $98.50. You got to keep listening. We've already given away 2 checks to folks, and we've got another one coming today and one tomorrow, and continuing as long as the Tigers are alive in the tournament. Brought to you by Mid-South Small Engines, Memphis Mold Inspector, Calb Equipment, and Buster's Liquors and Buster's Butcher.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Buster's is opening a new location at Poplar and I-240, your one-stop shop for wine and spirits. Family owned and operated for 70 years, Buster's offers the best service and wine knowledge in the area. Stop by and check out our selection of wine, spirits, beer, and more. Buster's is the supermarket of fine spirits. Visit us online at bustersliquors.com. Buster's, we love your spirit. Come see us at I-240 and Poplar.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the
credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Andy Wise here. I'm an actual customer of Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis in the Mid-South. I was so impressed, I endorsed Pella as the standard in affordable luxury. And now, Pella's even more affordable. 12 months, no interest, no payments, plus 50% off installation. Mention you heard this on the radio and get another $500 off. I'm telling you, as your consumer investigator, as their customer, make the wise choice of Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis in the Mid-South.
Plus finance through KFA, K4 SDO 87712, MSRP 25320, K5 S53 28285, MSRP 28455, Telluride SG 596204, MSRP 41060, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 4/2/25.
Hey, I tracked down my buddy Jeff Allen over at Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah. Hey, what's up, brother?
We're ready to rock over here, Randy. 2025 Kia K4 LXS, $159 a month with class-leading torque and fuel efficiency. 2025 Kia K5 GT line, $199 a month. And a 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive with more power, larger cargo area, and more ground clearance than a Nissan Pathfinder, $398 a month. All $49.99 due at signing, 24-month lease.
Plus, every Gossett Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So if you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
That's Gossett Kia South, 2680 Mount Moriah, online anytime, KiaMountMoriah.com.
Good morning. It's getting a little bit heavier in the line.
Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's getting a little bit heavier in the last few minutes up through the Midtown area as we check it out live here on 240 North right at Lamar. It's not too bad right now. Coming down I-40 at the 101 connector. It's trying its best to build southbound Austin P. Working your way up on that ramp there to I-40. Weimer's Jewelry, serving Memphis for what? Over 40 years, no matter what the occasion is. You'll save a lot of money by shopping local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time. Welcome in. If you're just tuning in, if you missed our first hour, talked a lot of college basketball, but really around the gambit of different things going on in the world of sports. We're going to talk some Redbirds and Cardinals in just a second with Craig Unger. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you on this hump day, this Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 edition of the program, broadcasting live from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Their first ever preseason pool, spa, and patio event going on right now. They're located at 2120 Witten Road. That's just north of I-40. When you stop by, make sure to register to win. Win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set at Family Leisure. Currently 63 degrees. It's going to get up to 76 today, decreasing cloudiness as the day progresses, and very windy. Slight chance of a rain shower. Tonight, the wind will continue, but mostly clear, and then some clouds that will come back during the overnight hours, the low of 42. But tomorrow looks to be pretty nice, although cooler. Only 56 for a high, 34 for your overnight low. Mostly sunshine, but then some clouds rolling in as well. And then Friday looks to be mostly cloudy with a high of 66. The weekend looks good for the moment. Third hour, make that second hour of the program, brought to you each and every day by our great friends at James Gaddis Jewelers. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5, Saturday, 10 to 4, closed on Sunday, located at 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters. Been serving Memphians for a whopping 6 decades. Started out on Summer Avenue and now on Poplar Avenue. If you're looking for that special engagement ring, wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets, Gaddis is the place for you. James is a master jeweler, certified appraiser, and he's a diamondologist. He has all the credentials you want in your jeweler. But if you're looking for that special watch as well, necklaces, bracelets, anklets, pendants of all types, gemstones of all types, plus antique and vintage jewelry, James Gaddis Jewelers is the place for you. 4900 Poplar Avenue between Mendenhall and St. Nick, on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. Well, coming up on Monday, and we're already in the baseball mode because the season is underway in Major League Baseball with the Tokyo series, with the Cubs and the Dodgers wrapping up now their 2-game series at the Tokyo Dome. The Dodgers winning the first 2, unfortunately, over Eli's Cubbies. But the season begins in earnest next Thursday. But before that all happens, on Monday at AutoZone Park, as the celebration begins for the 25th anniversary, for that first game 25 years ago, I was at it, the Cardinals played the Redbirds at AutoZone Park, and the 25th anniversary will be celebrated on Monday when the Cardinals come to town once again. It's going to be a big day and a big evening at AutoZone Park, and we are very pleased to be joined by the president of the Memphis Redbirds, Craig Unger, who joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Craig, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And did you get up real early the last 2 days to watch the Tokyo series?
I watched a little bit of it, been catching more of the highlights of it. I know Shohei hit a home run this morning, so that was kind of, I think, the icing on the cake for that series. It was very apropos, I guess.
So 25 years, and I know you weren't there 25 years ago, although you've been now with the organization a long, long time. It's going to be a great night to celebrate this history and this relationship between the Cardinals and the Redbirds.
Yeah, I think this is the 7th game, if I'm not mistaken, 7th or 8th game, and I think that's, these games are pretty rare. Where the big club, there is one other one this year in minor league baseball. The Cincinnati Reds are playing at the Dayton Dragons. There's one other minor league game, but the minor league team's playing at the big league park. But this is pretty rare, and I think, this is a testament to, the Cardinals ownership group. Really over the past, 12 years that I've been here in Memphis with the Redbirds, it's been a testament to John Mozeliak, who was instrumental in keeping the Redbirds here. He was one of the key people in the Cardinals organization when we came down in 2013 and worked with City Council and worked with the previous ownership group to purchase the Redbirds and be able to kind of keep it. I mean, I think people don't really realize what the dire situation was 12 years ago. Of the Redbirds, and Mo was a significant part of that, and immediately was, hey, we need to have an exhibition game. How can we build a few of these in? It's hard for their scheduling to be able to do it because this is technically a spring training game. It's their last spring training game before they head to St. Louis, and so it's tough for them to schedule around some of these special events sometimes. But they have made it a priority to make sure that this game happens on a regular basis, and we couldn't be more excited to host them.
The overall, just with the relationship with the Cardinals being the AAA affiliate of that team, certainly it has worked very well. Ton of Cardinal fans here. It's an easy drive up 55 to St. Louis. I assume that relationship is going to continue long term. What is the current situation as far as contracts, all that stuff goes, and is everything good as far as continuing that?
Yeah, so just years ago, and when I first got to Memphis, there was sort of a different system for this, and teams were only like on a 2 or a 4-year contract, and those contracts would kind of roll over. In 2021, Major League Baseball sort of restructured minor league baseball, and the one thing they did that was really. One of the challenges of the teams was like you had a lot of times, and it didn't happen here in Memphis, but in Nashville it happened a lot where there was affiliation shift. Yeah. They were the Oakland, then they were Milwaukee, and then they were this, and these affiliations would shift all over the place. And that's not good for the AAA team. It's not good for the Major League team. to build that consistency. So one of the changes that was made was a 10-year contract with your major league affiliate. So, currently we're in the midst of that, right in the middle of that 10-year agreement. So our, current agreement runs through 2030. And, that's where we're at. And, that's nice. You have that certainty, and that allows for you to do things like this and plan for events like this and have consistency, for the fans. I think, as you said, this is a great relationship between Memphis and St. Louis. It's 4 hours. It's 272 miles, I think, from the front door of AutoZone Park to Busch Stadium, and up and down I-55. It's Cardinal fans, and for us, we get the majority of our fans from Memphis and the Mid-South, and in the Mississippi and stuff too. But we get a lot of outside travelers who come in from St. Louis. There are still people to this day that I see every year at AutoZone Park that I knew when I was with the Cardinals. They're season ticket holders, and they pick a weekend every year where the Cardinals are out of town that they're going to come down, stay in the hotels, go to the restaurants, and that's not unusual. They're coming from Cape Girardeau. They're coming from all over southern Missouri, Illinois, even throughout Arkansas. It's pretty well known that Bill Clinton was a Cardinal fan. So even there inside of Arkansas, you have a lot of Cardinal fans that are taking their time to come to Memphis throughout the summer to see the future Cardinals play.
In celebration of this game on Monday, the 25th anniversary, you got a commemorative offer for folks out there in the 901.
We do. We courtesy of our friends at Prairie Farms, and I worked at Prairie Farms when I was in St. Louis, and they came down here whenever I got down here, and they've been a longtime sponsor of both the Redbirds and the Cardinals. They have helped us launch a $20.25 2025 ticket for this game, which is an absolute phenomenal deal to be able to come down and it's basically the price of a Redbirds ticket. To come down, see the Cardinals play, see the Redbirds play. I think that, what we've seen in this is that, I'm really excited for a lot of our players that I know throughout Cardinal Nation. There's a little bit of apprehension of this year, of sort of the reset, as Mo has put it. But, I think when you look at sort of how the youth side has gone over the past couple of years, and we've had some good talent coming through here. Mason Wynn, who's now a regular with the Cardinals, but I'm excited for Lucan Baker, who I think is going to make the big league squad. I'm going to be very happy to see him in the other dugout, come Monday. He's the all-time home run leader for the Memphis Redbirds, and he's a slugger. He's had a really good spring. So I'm excited to see some of the youth, and I think baseball's a funny game. I think Yachty said this a few weeks ago. Baseball's a funny game. And you have some very hungry young kids who are ready to play. And I think the Redbirds are going to be good this year as well. You got a lot of prospects, that are coming up. I would expect. I haven't seen any rosters. We really won't know until Monday. But I expect Quinn Matthews, who's one of the top prospects in all of baseball, pitcher, to be pitching for the Redbirds this year. If he doesn't start with us, he's going to be with us at some point during the year. He was with us the tail end of last year. So to come out, take advantage. If you go to MemphisRedbirds.com right now, those tickets are for sale. They've been, selling like hotcakes the past couple of days. But $20 to come see the St. Louis Cardinals play is one heck of a deal, and really what is still a great ballpark, very intimate. There are still some really great seats remaining. There's on the lower level, there's only 20-something rows, right? So you're 20-something rows from the field at every opportunity to buy a ticket.
With the ballpark itself, were there some renovations done this past off season?
Yeah, so with partnership with the city of Memphis, who owns the facility, we had a series of things that needed to be done this year to reach what we call PDL compliance. What we're part of now is another name for minor league baseball is the professional development leagues, and that's what MLB set up. So there's a list of compliance items that are sort of minimum standards from stadiums that stadiums have to meet in order to maintain compliance and facility standards to be an affiliate within minor league baseball. And this year, that's what the bulk of the time that we spent on in the renovations were on. Some of them are somewhat fan-facing. There are some that are kind of happening behind the scenes. There's some new batting cages being built, and some other little things in there. But, we got, when you come in, on Monday, You'll see one is we have new lights. Lights were one of those PDL compliance things. We had sort of the old school halogen lights. We now have the really cool LEDs that have colors and they flash and they do all the fun things. So an upgrade in lights, new wall pads throughout the whole outfield, throughout the whole building, on the field. And, the wall pads were 25 years old. We had, done some repairs to them. So it's just a nice, new, clean look on there. And there's new netting throughout the whole ballpark as well. So from a fan, from a fan enjoyment standpoint, there is now netting going all the way down the line. I talked about earlier that, how close you are to the field. It's unfortunate that every year we deal with, a handful of incidents where fans are injured by foul balls. Baseballs are coming off of bats at, 115 miles an hour. And players on the field who are 90 feet away, a third baseman, a first baseman doesn't have time to react, much less a fan who is enjoying the game and maybe taking a drink of their beer or eating peanuts. So, this is a new enhancement in. We understand there may be some adjustment to this, but I think overall the major leagues have now had, nets down the lines for several years. Other minor league ballparks have had it. People adjust to it. There's still opportunities to get autographs. There's still opportunities to interact with the fans. We've actually built sort of windows, if you will, into the nets going down the line that we can unzip in pregame and allow for fans to interact with the players and still get autographs and stuff. Very intentional of what we wanted to do to make sure that we don't lose that fan interaction and that fan experience, which is a big, huge part of what minor league baseball is. So that was, that's what we kind of focused on, this year. Just some cosmetic things in there, a lot of it PDL stuff. And then I know what your next question is, so I'll just go ahead and answer it, is that, part of this thought that we were with the city this year was also to study the future improvements for AutoZone Park.
Right.
So it's no secret that in the state money allocation, AutoZone Park was left out of that, which was frustrating to us and the mayor and everyone is well aware of that. We've had lots of conversations. So what we're doing now is we have an architect, we have a general contractor who's helping us, and we're beginning to, with the city, study the building, see what things need to be done, what the priority is. And as I said, some of these things previously, some of these things are like, the air conditioning and, heating and little things in there that, are important, but not something that fans may notice. They come in and go, oh, you got new air handlers, right? No one's going to know that. But the end is that this also goes into new seating. Like, the seats are original in the entire ballpark. They've lasted 25 years, which is absolutely amazing. But they're in dire need to be replaced. There's, concrete things around the building. The building needs to be painted. And then just sort of modernized. It's really no different than what, the FedEx Forum is looking at, is that over the course of 25 years, the way buildings operate, the desires of the fans, what the expectations are from clubs and amenities and concessions. And look, our bathrooms are terrible, right? I know that. But they need a major renovation. This isn't, calling, somebody coming in and just doing a little bit. They need a major renovation to change. So, that's something that is being worked on. I think that probably sometime, later this year, we will have a plan together and be able to come public with that plan that everyone will see what we want to do, be able to present to the mayor and city council what it's going to cost, and, then go forward with trying to figure out how we get it done. And I would say that, when you look at that for the long-term viability of AutoZone Park, and, Eli, to your question about the Cardinal affiliation, it's critical that these things happen. There are some critical system things. There are critical things within AutoZone Park that we'll maybe get through the next couple of years, but by 2030, when this next round comes up of another 10-year contract, whether that be with the Cardinals or any other team, and, it's going to be that, is AutoZone Park able to, not only host the players in a safe and modern building, but also fans. That's really important to Major League Baseball. That's really important to the Cardinals. So these things they have to happen. That's just the bottom line. They just have to happen. So I'm confident that it will. The conversations with the city, we have twice a week meetings. Right now, we're every day we're talking to the architects and we're going through ideas and talking about the different areas and lots of tours and going through the building. We've heard input from fans. We've talked to people. We've gone other places. We've seen a lot of buildings. So everyone's engaged. We just got to get this plan together quickly. And then be able to present that and then start to put a plan in place that over the next couple of years that we make, look, the building is still massive. It is still unbelievable. It is an absolutely beautiful ballpark. There are just some things that are aging in it. And, just like your home, you got to remodel your bathrooms every once in a while. You got to modernize your kitchen. You got to paint the walls. You're going to change out some furniture. And that's what we're doing. We're changing out the seats, right? That's what we have to do. We just have to modernize to get back to making AutoZone Park this premier facility that everyone knew 25 years ago. It's just showing its age today.
No, look, it makes complete sense with what you're saying. You got to step back into the batter's box after what happened with the state. You got to talk to Paul Young and this administration. You got to present all your findings, and hopefully that you get that positive reaction from the city, because this is a jewel. This has been with us a long, long time. We would hate to see anything happen to deteriorate, for the Redbirds to go one day. So certainly it makes all the sense in the world with what you're saying, Craig. A couple of other things real quick before we let you go. I got a text asking about how many more years AutoZone will continue the sponsorship. How long's your contract with them as the sponsor of the stadium?
So we had a long-term agreement that right now is being redone, and I would expect some news on that front here in the very near future. But they've been a great partner, and I fully expect them to continue for the long term as well.
Very nice. And then, beyond the whole cosmetic things and even more than that, but you talked about air conditioning and heating and the cement and things like that. Cosmetic. But what other things need to happen to return to the heyday of baseball downtown Memphis, where these fans are coming in droves to watch good baseball, really good baseball, to watch future major leaguers? What else is on the horizon? What else needs to be done to enhance the experience?
Well, I think, one is we made this announcement earlier this year. We have a new concessions partner, within the building. There were some challenges over the past few years as well there. So we have brought in a new concessions partner. It's the Oakview Group, OVG. Some people may be familiar with them from some other things that they've done around the country. They were the original concessions partner here years ago. I worked with them for 1 year before we switched in 2015. So excited to have that. I think other things within it is that we still need some suite reduction. I think we need to change sort of the entryway, into the ballpark, to sort of create sort of some other sort of spaces. For us, it's a mix of two different things that we're looking at. One is improving, the baseball experience with, bigger seats, kind of a little bit more room in places, more group areas and party areas. A lot of people are coming down to the ballpark, with events, with people in their office, and they're having, group events, creating more amenities, creating better concessions, right? And that's all. Food is a huge part of what the experience is with baseball. Sure. Yeah. And then we also look at it from a special event standpoint too, of things that we can host at the ballpark that are just bringing people in. We see AutoZone Park. It's also a community center. We want to get back to, we're hosting the Mimosa Festival in April. We're having a family fun day, a free day, the Saturday after the exhibition game, a week from Saturday, where, we're going to have inflatables out on the field. We're going to show the Cardinal game, during the day. They're playing a day game in St. Louis. Come bring a blanket, sit out in the outfield, watch the Cardinals. The kids get to, play on inflatables. And just have a day at the ballpark. We're going to be announcing some other sort of free events later this year just to get people inside the ballpark. And when we look at, having Miranda Lambert in May, that's the reschedule of the concert that was postponed last year. Bringing some other festival ideas, having some other things at the ballpark that just draw people in. It's so much, it's we're very focused on baseball day to day, and that's what we do. That's our bread and butter. That's everything we do. But we also look at it and say, what are some of the things that we can do around the ballpark? And I'll use the entry plaza as something as, putting a big screen out there that we can do, other watch parties, maybe NCAA watch parties, right? A Final Four, watch party with U of M, right? Or football games or whatever it may be, to just have this as a great community asset, being able to use it all the time. So, we look at all aspects of it. I think that when you talk about the fan experience, it's things from, those amenities, it's food, it's seating, it's how do people interact, it's technology. All those things inside there are critical, and we spend, countless hours and stuff talking about this and thinking about it every single day.
Craig, also kind enough to give us some tickets to give away for Monday's Cardinals-Redbirds game, which we'll do today, tomorrow, and Friday. In fact, on Friday, we're going to give you a chance to win tickets and field passes to go down there and watch BP and all that great stuff. Very kind of you, Craig. We thank you for that. It should be an outstanding game. And one more time, how can folks take advantage of the commemorative 901 tickets?
You can head to MemphisRedbirds.com and find those tickets. They start at just $20, and there's still some seats even remaining behind home plate and stuff too, so they can do that. And a note that I didn't mention earlier, but we are also including Redbirds opening day on April 1st for anybody who buys a Cardinals ticket. So it's kind of two for the price of one. You get to come down and see the actual opening day for the season, but so buy a ticket to the Cardinal game and then come down and spend the evening with us on April 1st for actual opening day. It's a little bit of a 2-for-1 deal, so it really sweetens the pot on that $20.25 ticket that is currently still out there.
That is a great deal, no matter any way you look at it. Cardinals fan, Redbirds fan, or both, which you probably are, take advantage of it. He is Craig Unger. He's the president of the Memphis Redbirds. Craig, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. See you on Monday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Take care. Good stuff. So we're going to give away some tickets today, tomorrow, and Friday right here on the program for Monday's game. Right now, we'll take a break, come back and talk to Jerry Palm. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
Hi, I'm Chandler Martin. I'm back from the University of Memphis football. Southern Security, their home team credit union, voted best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 consecutive years. Southern Security offers the latest in technology with our personal teller machines. Our PTMs allow you to speak in real time with the Southern Security team member through two-way live video. The experience and service you trust and know delivered at your convenience. To locate a PTM near you, visit us online at southernsecurity.org or call 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud supporter of the University of Memphis Athletics, federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, everybody, call it spring fever, call it March bracket time, yeah, all of that. Everybody is looking for something new to drive. All-Star Chevy right here in Olive Branch is loaded up for truck month, and every Silverado you want is here with financing down to 2.9, up to $3,000 cash for you. Hey, if you want a new 2500 HD Silverado, All-Star has them with no payment for 90 days, and your good credit deserves it. If your budget is in the 20s or 30s, gotta love all these affordable new All-Star Chevys, new Blazers, Equinox, new Colorado trucks. And if you're law enforcement, first responder, healthcare, military, education, recent grad, you get an extra $500 bonus. Plus, every certified Chevy and all the pre-owns you want are here in one place. Toyotas, Nissans, Hondas, Jeeps, Sierras, Ram trucks, Ford trucks, tons of Silverados. And if you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money for it today. Together, let's drive what we really want to drive. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, or go to allstarautogroup.com.
Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
they're taking care of business in Memphis, right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called God Hopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Hey, Mid-South, get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. Read Gossett. $199 a month or buy for $16,605. Gets 43 MPG. Need more room? Take your pick from 2024 Outlander plug-in hybrid PHEV or 2024 Outlander. Just $399 a month. And listen up, because all remaining new 2024 Gossett Mitsubishis are now $2,000 off MSRP. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get ready for your next adventure during the Mitsubishi Motors Spring Sales Event at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, and 24/7 at MemphisMitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 18605, PHEV, RZO 59821, MSRP 489, Outlander RZO 67325, MSRP 33210, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 895, excludes tax title and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
The Madness is here this Friday in the Owners Box Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. It's the place to be for all the games. Fun, exciting, friendly, comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs, full bar, all your favorite beers, happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday, an upscale menu. Come see me, Johnny Radio, this Friday 11 to 1. A little warm-up for the Tiger game that starts at 1 p.m. I'll be giving away $50 in gift cards every 30 minutes. The Owners Box Bar and Grill.
This traffic brought to you by Brinson Tax Service. They protect you like family.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's got heavier on 40 westbound here coming past Germantown Parkway all the way down to Sycamore View Road as it picks up there at the 101 connector on I-40 at Watkins. Still moving I-40 across the bridge there, the Hernando de Soto Bridge coming over from West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry, conveniently located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:32 the time. It's Wednesday. It's time for Jerry Palm.
It's time for Sports 56 Mornings Weekly Chat with Jerry Palm, college football and basketball writer and bracketologist for CBSSports.com. Here are Greg, Eli, and Jerry.
He is Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com. CBS Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. And congratulations, JP. You win the $50,000 cash prize for being the closest to pick Memphis to what would end up being a 5 seed. You had him as a 6 when others had him as an 8. So congrats.
Yeah, and I just missed because I had him. I just missed because I think I had him 21st.
Did you really?
Thank you. All right, so I am ready for the $50,000 prize.
Be ready for that check. Be ready for that check.
Yes, you got my address, right?
Of course I do. Now listen. Is that one for the? Is that a winner for the resume as opposed to the metrics, the numbers, the analytics?
Well, it depends on which analytics you like. Memphis and Gonzaga, and this is one of the things I was pleased that the committee did and I felt they got right, was Memphis was seated ahead of Gonzaga, which I wasn't so sure of because Memphis, was one of those teams that was, the two of them were just deeply divided in terms of the predictive metrics, which is like the net and KenPom and, Torvik, versus the resume-based metrics like KPI and strength of record. So, and wins against bubble is one of those as well. And, Memphis was really bad in the predictive metrics, and Gonzaga was really good, and then the opposite in the resume metrics. And for both of those teams, it seems like if you look at the resumes, you can see why the resume metrics are more correct for both of those teams. But, they talk about the predictive one so much, you never really know. But I feel like those two teams, relative to each other, and just where they landed, the committee got pretty correct.
It's funny because it was when Gonzaga was revealed as an 8, because of the way you had talked about those two teams. I was like, okay, then Memphis probably is going to be better because it looks like Gonzaga, they went by the resume a little bit more, and so figure Memphis probably would be better.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do, go by the resume. And that's, for both of those teams, I think they landed pretty fairly.
How did you do as far as your bracket is concerned?
Well, I missed 3, which is an insane number, but there's just I missed. I'm going to say 1.5, and the committee missed 1.5 because Carolina's an outrage. I mean, that's incredibly bad. That's historically bad selection by the committee. Texas, I've got mixed feelings about. I just feel like they've got too many losses, really. But so for North Carolina, if they go out, West Virginia goes in, that's clearly a much better team. That's not even close in terms of deserving of selection for the tournament. West Virginia is so much ahead of North Carolina. A&M, the other choice would then be Indiana, and Indiana's got some problems too. So I'm a little less fussed by that, but I still think it probably should have been Indiana. And then the other one I missed was the teams on either side of my cut line. I had Boise last in and Xavier first out, and they had them opposite. So, that one's that's sometimes that happens. But, North Carolina, I've been doing this a really long time, and there has never been another team that has so thoroughly proved that they were not an NCAA tournament team and got in anyway. Get so many chances and fail almost all of them and get in anyway. And in fact, the committee, even when I don't even think the committee liked them that much, because when they did their 1 to 68 list, which is, that's how they go in the bracket that way. They are behind Drake and VCU on that list. And those are teams that, if they were at-large candidates with the same resume and competing with North Carolina for a spot, they're not getting the time of day. It's just
JP.
They didn't have at-large resumes either.
Right. JP, so, I implore you. You hate getting into these discussions with me over the years about conspiracies and things of that nature. Come on. Bubba,
so here's the thing.
I left the room. Yeah, you had to come back into the room too, buddy.
Yeah, so here's the thing about that. As you know, I am always defending the committee against that kind of stuff. Have at it. Because when there's no merit base for a decision, then all of your wacky conspiracy theories are, just go for it. Because I can't defend it.
I mean, look, it's human nature. Okay, a couple of things. Here's your committee. This guy is first of all, don't have an acting, sitting AD as your tournament chair. But anyway, especially when it's North Carolina, a historically top-notch blue blood basketball program. But here's Bubba. You're on the committee. He's right there the whole time. So who cares if he leaves the room? In the back of your mind, you're not going to say no to North Carolina. He comes back in the room and go, yeah, we turned them down, Bubba. Come on. You're going to put North Carolina in. That was a given. I said it all along. They're going to put North Carolina in. They're going to find their way, even if they don't belong. Because they didn't want to be the guys that were looking at him, guys and gals, who's ever on that committee and going, yeah, Bubba, we just couldn't put them in there. And then they had the audacity, what's the word? Audacity to say that.
Audacity.
Yes. Thank you. To say, yeah, they would have been the first. They would have been out if it wasn't for if UAB had beaten Memphis. They would have been. I don't even believe that. I think they're lying through their teeth. It was all because of Bubba. They need to fix it in the future. But there's no question that team that now. I'm not surprised that they clobbered San Diego State last night. And I won't be surprised if they beat Ole Miss. But that
I've actually got that in my bracket.
Yeah, me too. But it doesn't mean that they deserve to be in just because they played well. They were 1-12 in Quadrant 1. Come on, what are we doing here?
Plus a loss to Stanford. And it's not just 1-12. It's 1-10 against teams that made the tournament. And, like half of those 10, maybe even more, are like Duke and, they had like 6 games against top 2 seeded teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or maybe 7 even. So, those are all really good teams.
I understand
but then they lost to mediocre. Then they lost to other tournament teams, and then they lost to, Pitt and Stanford, and there's another other quad 1 wins is not a tournament team. And it's just, that those count too.
Right.
But
they
that's
didn't
the thing.
beat any of those good teams ever once.
They beat one. Yeah, UCLA in New York. And that's the only team they beat in the entire tournament. I'm sorry. Hold on. They beat American, the Patriot League champ, second place team in that league. They are the lowest rated team on Carolina's schedule, but they beat them. But yeah, I mean, there's no merit-based justification for North Carolina to be in the tournament. But, like you and I, once you get there, it's not like they can't win a game or two. Exactly. And that's true of teams that were left out. It's like that every year. There are teams that get left out. They could win a game or two if they got in. It just wasn't room for everybody. But, it's, and then people will say, when they win a game in the tournament or whatever, and, that justifies their selection. You cannot validate or invalidate selection based on what you do in the tournament, because that's not criteria.
Absolutely.
If they had beaten Duke in that ACC tournament game and then lost to Louisville in the championship game, would that, in your mind, would that have been enough to put them in?
Probably. It's still crappy, but it's not as crappy. Plus, you've got to win over Duke.
Right.
If they beat Louisville and lose to Duke, then it's a different discussion. But if they beat Duke, that Duke is a good enough win.
Logistically,
that's a good enough win to legitimately put them in.
Yeah, not legitimately. Legitimately, that would have gotten them in as far as the eyes of everybody. I don't think you would have heard the complaints if they had beaten Duke.
I would have had them in. I mean, I would have had them in. It's just so many chances and one hit in so many chances.
Right,
it's like that. It's like that looked like my Little League baseball average.
All right, so of the number 1 seeds, who, in your opinion, none of these roads are easy, but who has the easiest road of the 4?
I'm going to say Duke.
Duke out of the East?
Yeah. I'm not convinced that Bama's healthy. I like Wisconsin, but they're not good enough to beat Duke. Arizona. No, it's partly about Duke. But yeah, I don't think they got a strong they didn't get the strong number 2. Like if Tennessee had been in that region instead of Alabama, I might have thought Duke had a little tougher road to go. But I just think that Alabama kind of struggled down the stretch of the season a little bit, and especially against the top teams in their league. And now Grant Nelson?
Yeah, Nelson.
Yes.
Banged up. So we don't know if he's going to play, and he's not Mark Sears, but he's still a key part of what they do. So, and he's a bit of a matchup problem because of his size. So I think Duke got the easiest of the roads.
Yeah, and the Nelson, because as soon as he left the Florida game in the tournament, that game completely changed.
Yeah, but you know what? The game someone gets hurt in, you haven't had time to adjust. You're adjusting on the fly. So it's really better to see how they do once you've had a chance to practice without him, and adjust your lineups and your game plan to not having a guy than having to do it on the fly like that.
So what is your Final 4?
Florida, Houston, Duke, and Michigan State.
Okay. Who do you have to win it?
Florida over Duke.
I'm taking the upset. I'm taking St. John's to knock off Florida.
I can't believe you have Houston beating.
I would feel better about St. John's if they beat somebody really good in the regular season. And, they beat Big East teams. They didn't have the kind of win you need in the NCAA tournament in the regular season. They had a great year, and it's a great story. And they're the last of the 2 seeds, and I think that's right. But they just don't have the high quality games on their schedule to make me think that they're going to beat someone like Florida.
I hear you. I'm just taking a shot. I don't want to go all chalk there because I have Duke, I have Auburn, and Houston. I got Houston cutting down the nets. And
they certainly could. I mean, I didn't think
Duke.
it. I thought about it. Yeah, they could beat Duke. And I think I've got like a Houston Tennessee regional final.
How about that?
Which would be as good as those teams are both, good defensive teams.
Right.
That could be a game played in like the 50s. And by 50s, I mean not just on the scoreboard, but like 19.
The final score of 34-30 will really do quite great.
Yeah.
I don't want
it's that late touchdown, that pushes them over the top. Yeah. But Tennessee could win that region. I picked Houston, but Tennessee certainly absolutely could win that region.
Who do you got, Eli?
I've got Tennessee in the Final Four of the region. I mean, I don't know why you guys assume Houston's beating SIU Edwardsville. I don't like that. Just makes no sense.
Well, that'll be their toughest battle to get to the Final Four. But
yeah, for sure.
What?
I have Duke over Florida in the championship game. I'd go back and forth.
You know what? I said I'd Florida over Duke, but I got Florida over Houston. So I'm already brain cramping.
See, Eli's going down on a limb there.
I just think those two teams are right now way above everybody.
Are we slighting? Are we slighting Auburn? For a while there, they were the best team in the country.
I would not be surprised if Auburn comes out refreshed. I think that they get to the end of this season. They all know, everybody knows they're going to be the overall number one. It's almost like they're out of things to really play for until the tournament starts. So my feeling was they took their foot off the gas a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, they weren't dogging it, but I think they just, sort of internally took their foot off the gas a little bit. But now that the tournament's here, it's time to go. And if Auburn wins this thing, I'm not going to be surprised. They're a really good team.
I would. They're one of the teams that has a very good chance at winning. I actually have them going out in the Sweet 16, but I'm not going to be surprised if they win the championship.
All right, JP, real quick, give me 2 of your first or second round upsets.
All right, I got Yale beating A&M.
Wow. Okay.
Does Colorado State count? They're at 12. Oh, they're playing Memphis.
Yes, they are. See, you're just in the good graces of Memphis fans, and now you're going to pick Colorado State.
So don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody.
No.
Shh. Yeah. And that picks about Colorado State. I mean, I like Memphis. As you know, I've been championing them this year, but that Colorado State team's really hot. I have Illinois beating Kentucky to go to the Sweet 16. I have McNeese winning a first-round game, and VCU beating BYU in a complete contrast of styles.
Are you going to follow Purdue, or are you going somewhere else?
I am going to be in Milwaukee, where the North Carolina fans will enjoy my presence, and and then I will be in Indianapolis. So no, I did the driving stuff this year. Actually, I did the same thing last year. I usually pick places I can drive through. It just so happens that because Purdue was so highly seeded that they got to go to the places I could drive to.
Well,
but not this year.
Enjoy a couple of those nice cold beverages up in Milwaukee. We will talk to you next week. We'll have some games. In fact, we'll be down to this, Sweet 16 when we have Jerry on next Wednesday. So looking forward to it. Thank you, JP.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Folks, for all your running gear, get over to Fleet Feet. See the folks at either one of their 2 locations in the Laurelwood Shopping Center in East Memphis, out in Collierville, Poplar, News and Levy. They get you fitted with shoes that are just right for you. Any other gear that you need, they've got you taken care of. We're getting to the nice weather. Folks getting outside, running, walking, exercising, just getting out and doing things. Make sure you got shoes that are just right for you. Go see the folks at Fleet Feet, either one of those 2 locations.
I like Milwaukee, not particularly in the winter, but I do like that city. We'll take a break. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgess. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous? Well, there's some things about the Rendezvous I need to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet
birthday park and right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to doors. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 275 people. And everything at the rendezvous can be packed to go. But we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear, please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of the mother's maiden name, dial it back. Come see us at the rendezvous. Since 1948, the rendezvous.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest patch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
First ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure for the first time ever. With unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop by Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. When you go to I-40, family and fun come together.
Elwood Shack and the Lowe's parking lot on summer just keeps getting bigger and better. Bigger because now there's a second Elwood Shack at 4040 Park across from the University of Memphis. And better because you can get breakfast every day at both Elwoods. There's the barbecue breakfast burrito, either beef brisket or pork shoulder, and pancake biscuits made fresh daily, real house-made pancakes, apple and bacon, French toast, and more. And the new Elwood's even has a real coffee bar serving fresh roasted J. Brooks coffee. Elwood Shack, now with 2 locations and open every day for you.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Gunslinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Gunslinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Gunslinger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit GunslingerGlass.com. Gunslinger Glass.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back. 8:53 the time. Coming up in hour number 3, we will break down at least one of the regions for the NCAA tournament. And then about 9:25, Parthu Pajai in studio before he heads to Seattle covering Memphis Tigers men's basketball. Parth from the Daily Memphian. Oh, if you would like to go to see the Cardinals and the Redbirds Monday night at AutoZone Park, All you need to be is the third caller at 901-360-8255, and we'll give you a pair of tickets to go see the game Monday night. The Cardinals in town before they head up north for the start of the season. The Redbirds will be cranking up their season before too long, but they'll play an exhibition on Monday, the 25th anniversary of when the Cardinals and the Redbirds ushered in AutoZone Park in that first game. Caller number 3 at 901-360-8255, and you get yourself a pair of tickets to go see the Cardinals and the Redbirds on Monday. So yesterday they had the Pro Day over at the University of Memphis. I think I've been to one, Eli, for like a little bit. I don't remember all the details, but I stayed there for a while. They were a little bit delayed, and it ended up being longer than usual because I heard that the scouts were at Central Arkansas, and so when they were coming to Memphis, there was, I think, a big crash, so they got delayed, so it kind of put everything behind the 8 ball. But going out there and watching, I mean, there were tons of scouts. There were a lot of players from the University of Memphis that were performing. Seth Hennigan was there to throw. Also, Mario Anderson doing his thing. Chandler Martin, who was performing for the Scouts, was asked about not being invited to the Combine. He said, at first, I was a little hurt, not going to lie, but it was really my fuel to add to the fire. He was asked what he ran the 40 in. I was watching. It was very tough to see, and they weren't announcing the times. It wasn't on a scoreboard. Said he ran in the 4.5s in his 40. The fastest time, according to the University of Memphis, through the NFL official numbers, they sent this out earlier, the 40-yard dash, Davion Ross at 4.44. Also, Davion Ross in the broad jump at 10 feet 8 inches. So that bodes well for Davion Ross. Numbers at the pro days and at the Combine, for those who are lucky enough to be invited, are extremely important. Now, you have to bring the goods. Doesn't mean he's going to get drafted, but I would imagine that a guy like Davion Ross maybe stole the show a bit and we'll get a good look.
NFL guys love a good broad jump.
They do. Vertical jump, by the way, Kobe Drake and Chandler Martin at 37 inches. And the bench press, Big Trent Holler, the center for Memphis in his first and only year, and what a job he did, 23 reps. Where do they go, 225?
I think that's it. Something like that.
23. I can only do 20. 23, I'm kidding. 23 reps at 225, Trent Holler. So some of the highlights, and again, with Seth, he didn't run since he ran at the Combine, and he was the rare quarterback to run at the Combine. Not that it makes that much of a difference unless you're a speed merchant, and look, he's not, but his ability to lead a team, to engineer a drive, to make accurate passes, to throw a deep ball, not the strongest arm in the world, but not a weak arm by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to get a look. He may not get drafted. If he does, we had Jonah Dillon on yesterday talking about maybe the 7th round. I like him because I've seen him. I know how he ticks. There's a couple of guys that are projected to be late picks as far as quarterbacks are concerned that I would put up him against them any day of the week. But who knows? It all depends on what a team thinks. And maybe in the end, you're better off being an undrafted free agent, kind of pick with the help of your agent, where you might be able to fit in and have a chance to make a team, even a practice squad. So that's that possibility. But, at times it was boring. At other times it was exciting. But to watch these guys do their thing, more power to them. Best of luck to all of them trying to reach their dream of playing one day in the National Football League. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, great option for lunch or dinner today. You can dine in at any of their 4 locations, Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, or Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Enjoy that delicious slow-smoked barbecue, the Q, the ribs, the barbecue nachos. The wings are outstanding as well. Maybe start yourself off with that cheese and sausage plate. They also have an award-winning catfish plate, tamales, even burgers, and amazing desserts. They'll cater Any size event, it doesn't matter. They've been catering as long as they've been in existence, 4 decades, and they'll start you out as low as $7.99 per person. Lunch specials every day, party packs that start at just $7.49. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Hour 3 on the way. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When you're working outdoors, unpredictability is the norm. So take on the toughest jobs with a 2025 Honda Pioneer 7. This rugged side-by-side is powered to any party with reliable torque for towing and smooth shifting for trails. And you can choose between 3 trims: standard, deluxe, and the Trim Timber First Edition. Ultimate Animals Adventures. See the 2025 Honda Pioneer 700 today at Casino Honda, 5656 Road,
All aboard, football fans! The Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
Every year it's the same thing. March arrives, and I want to tell all of you to spend as much time as possible at Bell Tavern watching college basketball. But I also want to ensure everyone that Bell Tavern is not a rowdy sports bar where you'll run into people that can't drink and watch a game without yelling. Once again, let me say Bell Tavern is a great place to watch college basketball where you won't run into people that can't drink and watch a game without yelling. Bell Tavern is not a sports bar. Bell Tavern is a grown-ups bar.
Whether you need to do work on 1 acre or keep up 1,000 acres, Calva Equipment has the equipment for you. For large landowners, Calva Equipment has Coyote tractors and all the implements to get your job done. For commercial cutters and you large homeowners that want the best commercial, zero-turn, stand-on, or walk-behind mowers, Calva has Exmark and Toro commercial mowers along with Red Max and Echo commercial blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws. If you have land to work, Calva Equipment has the tools for you. Visit Calva Equipment, 4900 Old Summer Road, 1 block north of Summer and Mendenhall.
We are ready to meet anyone on your new Hyundai from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com. If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
341,155, MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411, MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185, MSRP 27,020. Sonata RU 415,696, MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
The Madness is here this Friday in the Owners Box Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. It's the place to be for all the games. Fun, exciting, friendly, comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs, full bar, all your favorite beers, happy hour 3 to 6 Monday through Friday, an upscale menu. Come see me, Johnny Radio, this Friday 11 to 1. A little warm-up for the Tiger game that starts at 1 p.m. I'll be giving away $50 in gift cards every 30 minutes. The Owners Box Bar and Grill.
This traffic report on Sports 56 is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Memphis and the Mid-South Pella Windows. The standard is affordable luxury.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Traffic's on the increase even more on 385 Bill Morris Parkway as you come in from Collierville, headed towards 240, coming up through South Haven right now. A little bit more volume in the last 10-15 minutes on 55, northbound all the way up to Brooks and Elvis Presley. Hey, if your yard needs a little bit of help, don't worry. You're in good shape. Lawn Solutions will help you out with 30 years experience. Call Lawn Solutions today. You'll be glad you did. They're affordable. 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis.
.04 the time, hour 3 of the program. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers with you, broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, a little thing we call Sports 56 Mornings. Oh, by the way, we did have the winner for the Redbirds Cardinals tickets, but we will give away another pair coming up this hour, so stay tuned for that. Redbirds and the Cardinals in an exhibition game Monday night from AutoZone Park. 63 degrees. It will increase or improve to 76 temperature-wise, but the clouds remain early, then they'll start to decrease. It will remain windy with a chance of a rain shower and a very marginal risk of severe weather tonight. 42 for your low, mostly clear, will remain windy, and then overnight diminishing winds. But while it's breezy out, you're talking about 20 to 30 and gusts of possibly 40, so that's downright windy. Tomorrow for your Thursday, only 55 for your high, 34 for your overnight low.
It's been windy for 2 months. I mean, the wind blows like crazy every single day. It drives me crazy.
Well, it's strange because we had Matt Reiser on Monday, and he talked about the Friday night game this past weekend when they played Lindenwood. There was 10 home runs hit, 5 for each team. I didn't do that game, but the winds were howling Friday night. Saturday, I did the game. They moved it from 2 to 6 because the storms were rolling through. But once they rolled through, they had the game at 6, and there wasn't much wind that night. It's the only night I can remember where there hasn't been a lot of wind, because Sunday it picked up again. Yesterday it was windy. Today's obviously going to be windy. Tomorrow is going to be windy. So you're right. Always a challenge, especially for golfers out there trying to play golf in a windy situation. Jenkins Floors and More, third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, but so much more, including ceramic and porcelain tiles and backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms. They can do the job for you. They'll come to you. They'll give you a free estimate, and they'll get the job done in 2 weeks or less. That's their promise to you. They sell it wholesale, skip the middleman, save you lots of money in the process, so it makes sense for all you do-it-yourself homeowners, contractors out there to buy your top-of-the-line material from Jenkins and do it at a discounted price. Financing is always available. Military first responders, you get 10% off. Sports 56 listeners, ask about your family discount. Visit them in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road, or call them and tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, 662-469-9350, open Monday through Saturday. It's Jenkins Floors and More. Okay, so yesterday we took a look at the South. Let's take a look at let's go to the West. Let's go where Memphis is in the NCAA tournament. So Elijah, jump in on this. I don't know how we did it yesterday. I don't think we did. Did we do game to game?
No.
I think we did.
Okay. One says yes, one says no. We'll just kind of throw it out there for conversation. This is the region where Florida is the number 1 seed. This is the region where Memphis, as a 5, is an underdog to number 12, Colorado State. You also have St. John's, who's as hot as anybody. Arkansas will open up against Kansas. It's been probably a long time, right, since Kansas was as low as a 7 seed. Now, maybe I'm missing something, like an odd year where they were really bad or relatively bad, but that seems very low. They're not that good. And they're playing Arkansas. Arkansas has a chance. So what do you see? What are your first impressions from this region?
This is not only, I think, the toughest region. I think it's, I know it's also my favorite region by far, just the caliber of teams in this region. It's insane when you go down the list of teams. I realistically think that there are 7 or 8 teams that could come out of this region. And I don't think you can say that about any other region. You look at, of course, Florida up top, but you've got St. John's and Texas Tech, who's a team that I actually have coming out of this region. I have them beating Florida in the Elite Eight.
Really?
Interesting.
What about Connecticut? What do you think? I mean, obviously they're going for a three-peat. They have had a topsy-turvy season.
we know their pedigree at this point. They've won back-to-back national championships. They have started to play better basketball late in the season, but I think the idea of UConn is still a little better than the actual reality of UConn this year. And a second-round matchup against Florida is just a little too steep of a hill for me.
Eli?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Florida, I don't like the idea that might have to play the two-time defending champions in the second round as a 1 seed. But Florida's just better than UConn this year. I don't think UConn has any chance of matching up, especially up front, with Florida. I think anytime you have a UConn as an 8 and a Kansas as a 7, I mean, that's a loaded bracket. Because Kansas, you can say they haven't been good, and they haven't been. They haven't had great. That's why they're a 7 seed. They were the number 1 team in the preseason polls for a reason. Like there's a lot of talent on that team. So you throw a 7 seed with that type of talent, like that's, again, if you're the 2 seed and that's your second round match, wait a second, we're a 2 seed and our second round game is against the team that was number 1 in the preseason polls. That's a little crazy. Again, that's if Kansas gets by Arkansas, which I think they will, but I certainly don't think, I'm not going to be surprised at all. And if Arkansas could put together one of those games, we've seen them have some of those good games. They're still go through those stretches offensively where they're so bad that I think Kansas will be able to beat them. I do think Texas Tech is a dangerous team as far as, again, got a great player in Toppin there. So you go look down and you just got a lot of these guys who were on the All-American team one way or another. So I just think Florida right now is just playing so well that I've got them coming out of that bracket because I just think right now I think them and Duke are just, as I said earlier, I think them and Duke right now are just a little bit above everybody else.
It's hard to argue that. You and I both had Florida winning the SEC tournament championship. I love Florida. They started out the season like gangbusters. They had a couple of minor injuries, nothing major, but I look at their losses. They had 4 losses, all in the conference. 106-100 to Kentucky, 83-82 to Missouri. The Tennessee game, which we'll talk about in a second, 64-44. That was a weird one. And then Georgia 88-83, which was a surprise. But is there a type of team out there that you think poses a problem for Florida?
No. That's the thing. They have everything. They have the size. You have basically 4 bigs. You've got great guard play. You've got athletes on the wings. You've got shooters. They're the number 1 offense in the nation. They're the number 9 defense in the nation. Like, Florida just does everything well.
Yeah, I think they were without Condon maybe for one of those losses, maybe 2. But the Tennessee game was weird because that was they played Tennessee twice. They won 1 and lost 1. But the Tennessee game that they lost by 20 was the game that Zakai Ziegler and Milicic didn't play. And I think they just took it for granted. Right? Am I saying that right? That's the game those 2 guys were missing? And
Florida played there. Florida couldn't. It was the exact opposite of the first matchup with Tennessee when Tennessee couldn't make a shot. In the second game, Florida just literally could not make a shot.
Yeah, and Tennessee won. The first game, they beat Tennessee 73-43. And again, if Tennessee is going to have an off-night shooting, they're done. They're dead in the water. Florida is not going to have usually that type of game, but they did in this particular game. But I think that was more mental. I think you go in, you still impressionable young men. They go in and go, they don't have like 2 of their best players. One, certainly their best player. And then the other guy, one of their bigs, we can walk through this thing and win. That one might have been more on Golden and the staff than the players themselves. I don't think they were ready. I don't think they were prepared. I remember losing the bet on that game. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was gift wrapped, and it wasn't. You never take anything for granted. But other than that, there's limited blemishes. The Georgia game, they got beat. Sometimes those things happen. But since the Georgia game, they rattled off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games. But when you fill out the office pool, sometimes you have to take some chances. And I figure Florida, the way they are, as hot as they are, they're going to get the bulk of the pick. Duke's going to get the bulk of the pick to win it all. Auburn's going to get some. So I took a shot with Houston. I mean, the last few years, I think I've ran with Houston, maybe not to win it in the past, but to get to the championship game or the Final Four, and they'll lay an egg every once in a while. Once in a while, they won't find their offense. And that Houston-Tennessee possibility matchup there in the Elite Eight, that could be something special with two heavyweight boxers just knocking each other around and limited amount of scoring. But again, if Houston runs dry in a particular game, that could be the death of them. And they're going to have to score points to be able to beat a Duke. They're going to have to score points to be able to beat an Auburn. Do they have enough? I think they're decent in offense this year than maybe in the last couple of years. They've always had like one player, maybe two. I think they're a little bit more well-rounded offensively, but they still hang their hat. Sampson hangs his hat on defense and on being tough and trying to beat you before you step on the court. I don't know if they have enough, but I'm going to take a chance because I'll probably be the only one to pick Houston. Who'd you end up picking, Elijah?
For the national championship?
Yes.
I'm rolling with Duke.
So you're going Duke. All right. But anything else in that West? Obviously, we got to talk more about Memphis. Does anybody have them losing to Colorado State like Jerry Palm does?
I unfortunately do.
Oh, look at you. The alum.
Yeah, I know.
Just turning his back on his school.
I just think without Tyrese Hunter, it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough.
It's going to be tough, but here's the thing.
I took SIUE to beat Houston. I actually did not.
He's got a different bracket. He's throwing in an extra bracket with SIUE winning it. See, here's the way I look at it. I'm not going to get blown away because this team's won 10 in a row against competition in the Mountain West that I don't think is a great conference to begin with. And it doesn't mean because San Diego State lost by 1,000 last night that Colorado State's average. But I'm just going to bet on them not being as good as maybe the streak would indicate. And so I've seen Memphis, and even without Hunter, on Sunday, they beat UAB by double digits. I still think Memphis is a better team than Colorado State. So I got them winning that game. Now, Maryland is a different story. Maryland's got some really good bigs, and I think it'll be a problem for Dane to try to be able to score on these big guys. Queen is a top 10 pick. But Maryland goes into lulls, too. I've seen them sleepwalk. I'm certainly thinking that's a winnable game for Memphis, but I probably wouldn't bet that one.
Yeah, I could very well see Memphis going to the Sweet 16.
What's that?
I could very well see the Tigers making it to the Sweet 16.
Oh, there's no question that they can get to the Sweet 16. And in fact, I don't think it's any kind of long shot in having them in the Sweet 16. But I still believe that you're going to see a team, even without Hunter, if he doesn't go, play inspired ball against Colorado State. What you can't do, Colorado State forces you to foul them. And Memphis can't have, if it's a closely tight called game, that could be a problem because of the lack of depth that Memphis has. So you don't want all these fouls being called. And then it stops the flow of the game, the transition and all that. You want them to be able to play. And hopefully the officials will allow them to play. That benefits Memphis in a number of different areas.
Yeah, I've got Memphis beating Colorado State. I think it is going to be if you look at it on paper, it is a very even matchup. Both teams very similar in a lot of the efficiency ratings, everything else. I think both teams obviously have the big time scorer. Both teams have veteran guys who have been around college basketball, maybe not all at the current school, but have played a lot of college basketball. So I think it'll be an interesting matchup. Should be a close matchup, but I think the Tigers certainly have a great chance to win that one. I think they have a good chance to beat whoever the second round matchup is, whether it be Maryland or Grand Canyon. I have Maryland, but I'm not super comfortable that they will beat Grand Canyon. And I think the Tigers certainly have a chance. I have Maryland beating them, but I would not be surprised at all if the Tigers got to Sweet 16. I would be shocked if they got past the Sweet 16, but I would not be surprised if they got to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'm with you. And look, Maryland's my alma mater, and I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could get upset by Grand Canyon. It's because I've seen that team a lot, and I've seen them hit lulls in games. They kind of lose their mind for about 5 or 6 minutes. All right, let's do the East, and then we'll take the break, and then Parth will join us to talk more about the Tigers as he's getting ready to head to Seattle today, like the team is. All right, so Duke obviously is the heavy favorite to come out of that one. You picked Duke to win it all, Elijah, so you got them. What else do you see? Who do you see them playing to get to the Final Four?
I think it would be Alabama. I think Duke and Alabama are far and away the best two teams in this group. I'm not going to sleep on Arizona, though. Arizona's been playing some really good ball. I think they could give Duke a good game in the Sweet 16. But I do think when it comes down to it, it will be Duke versus Alabama. And as we've seen this year with Alabama, their defensive inconsistency just will prove to be their downfall, in my opinion, in the game against Duke. They'd have to make 15-plus threes to make up for that, and I don't know if they'll be able to do that against Duke's positional length. So I've got the Blue Devils.
Well, I got Duke as well. And look, they don't have flaws, this team. The only flaw they would have is if Cooper Flagg was out, but he's apparently going to play. Arizona screws up my bracket every year, so I'm sure that's going to mess it up again. I hate that I have Oregon beating Arizona. I just can't pull. Right now, Arizona is just Jekyll and Hyde like Mississippi State is. They're the two schools that are going to screw up my bracket. But I have BYU.
Wow.
I have BYU beating Alabama and then losing to Duke. I think the Cougars are going to be a big surprise to some regard. I mean, obviously they made a name for themselves during the regular season, but in this tournament, I think BYU is going to have a real good tournament and get to the Elite Eight. Eli, what do you think?
I have BYU in the Elite Eight. I love their ability to score.
How about that?
Wow.
I love Yegor Demon, the big point guard who is really, really good. They're elite offensively. They got shut down in that game against Houston in the Big 12 tournament, but I think BYU has a run. And I'm worried about Grant Nelson with Alabama. I just don't. If he misses time here, I'm concerned about them. So certainly won't be surprised if Alabama, especially if he is good to go, that they are in that spot. But yeah, I like this BYU team. I got to see them earlier this year. Ole Miss actually beat them in that game that I called out in San Diego. But the Demon kid is special, and they've got athletes. They got some athletes. They got shooters. They got size. I like this BYU team, especially on the offensive end.
I'm a little concerned that I don't have an upset in the East. Do you guys have any upset?
I have Gonzaga going to the Sweet 16 and VCU.
I've got BYU going to the Elite Eight.
I have VCU beating BYU in the first round.
I thought you said you did.
Well, I mean the first round. I mean, like, you know, a real low seed winning a game in the first round.
I have VCU. VCU is my one.
Gonzaga's not even in that region. Are they? Did you just say Gonzaga?
Oh, my bad. Gonzaga's in the Midwest.
The only lower seed I have winning in the first round in that region is Baylor, which is a 8-9 game.
Yeah, I went back and forth on that one. Yeah, I did take Baylor. I'm sorry, I saw that 9-8. Yeah, but everything else it looks like it's chalk. And again, Arizona every single year, and then there's Wisconsin that I have them winning a game, and that's it. And I wouldn't even be shocked if they lost to Montana.
I have VCU beating Wisconsin in the second round.
Oh, and Eli and I have BYU. So you got BYU getting knocked off by VCU.
That's right. I fell for the BYU trend last year, and they lost to Duquesne in the first round, so I'm just not going to fall this year.
All right. Hey, something's going to happen that's going to screw me up, and probably a lot of other people as well. Was it last year? I mean, it's every year, it seems like. But was it last year where, like, the first morning session, 90% of the ESPN brackets were already done? Or some weird thing like that. Like
After the first 2 or 3 games, yes.
Yeah, as far as like keeping a clean sheet. I mean, it was like over real early. I remember last year was a lot of surprises.
My question with Duke again is obviously Cooper Flagg. I wonder if he's going to try and play this first game, or are they going to say we should be able to get by the first game without him, try and get him ready for the second game? Certainly, I think you would want. I don't think you want to you can't just assume anything against either Baylor or Mississippi State. So if you can get him back in there, certainly I think you want to do it by the second game. But against American or St. Mary's, do they say, yeah, he maybe could go, but we're going to hold off on this and get to the next game?
Maybe, but what it tells me is that this injury is lingering. Like, if he's healthy, he goes. He plays in that first game. If he doesn't play in that first game, although the logic makes sense with what you're saying, it concerns me just.
There's no way he's going to be fully healthy for that first game.
Well, that's what
he's going to recover in a week.
We
from
don't
that.
know. We don't know what his situation is. But I still think Duke, even without Cooper Flagg's a damn good team. I think it's a good enough team to beat the likes of Mississippi State or Baylor or Oregon or Arizona. But the bottom half of that bracket, if they don't have Cooper Flagg, I might have to do an adjustment there to my thinking. If it's whoever comes out of that, Alabama or BYU more than likely, maybe Wisconsin. Hopefully it won't be, for my sake, with my bracket. But that would be a little bit different maybe with Duke if they didn't have Cooper Flagg.
My guess is he does not play Friday but does play on Sunday. That's going to be that's my guess as to when we'll see Cooper Flagg.
Hey, everybody, call it Spring Fever, March Madness. Yeah, all of that. Everybody is looking for something new to drive. All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch is loaded up for Truck Month, and every Silverado you want is here with financing down to 2.9, up to $3,000 cash back for you. Hey, if you want a new 2500 HD Silverado, All-Star has them with no payment for 90 days. That's because your good credit deserves that. If your budget is in the 20s or the 30s, gotta love all these affordable new All-Star Chevys, new Blazers, Equinox, new Colorado trucks. If you are in law enforcement, first responder, work in the healthcare field, military, you're a teacher or recent grad, you get on top of everything else an extra $500 bonus. Every certified Chevy and all the pre-owns you want are here, all in one place. Toyotas, Nissans, Hyundais, Jeeps, Sierras, Ram trucks, Ford trucks, tons of Silverados. I can go on and on. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it here to All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch and get the most money back for it today. So together, let's drive, and let's drive what we really want to drive. All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch, and online at allstarautogroup.com. When we come back, Parthu Pajai on the Tigers. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Service Director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Football fans, the Memphis Showboats are back in action with more of the football you love. Join the Showboats at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium March 30th for the opening weekend of the 2025 UFL season as the Boats take on the Michigan Panthers. Kickoff is 11 a.m. Head to UFLShowboats.com now to get your tickets and get more of the touchdown celebrating, high-fiving, bell-ringing action you love. That's UFLShowboats.com. Go Boats!
You get the best of Memphis for lunch and dinner at Elwood Shack. Choose from house pastrami, corned beef, smoked turkey, roast beef, roast pork, beef brisket, and full shoulders, all made in-house. Elwood's fresh baked bread is delivered daily only in our bakery in Cordova, and all Elwood's cakes and sweet treats come from Frost Bakery. Open daily for lunch and dinner at Elwood Shack on summer in the Lowe's parking lot. And the newest Elwood's at 4040 Park across from Northern. Get the best of Memphis anywhere else at Elwood Shack.
Looking for some amazing deals on
Traffic Report brought to you by Triangle Meat Company, feeding Memphis since 1967. Open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, 4790 Summer Avenue. Trust Triangle Meat Company.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's gotten heavier in the Midtown area just in the last few minutes. 240 north from Norris all the way up to Lamar as that traffic picks up even more on 385 Bill Morris Parkway, continuing inbound, getting up on that ramp there to 240 coming past Mount Moriah. Inbound on Sam Cooper is also on the increase right when you come off the interstate. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area for well over 40 years. Shop local. You'll save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 This hour once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:30 is the time. A little bit later on, before we wrap it up, we'll give away another pair of tickets for the Cardinals-Redbirds exhibition game on Monday night. But right now, it's time to talk some Memphis Tigers basketball with Parthu Pajai.
It's time to talk Memphis Tigers basketball. Joining Greg and Eli is Parthu Pajai, the Tigers beat reporter for the Daily Memphian. Now here's Parthu with Greg and Eli.
Parthu Pajai is the Memphis Tigers men's basketball beat writer for the Daily Memphian. He's getting ready to jump on the Big Bird, head to Seattle. He's still packing as he's talking with us. I see dental floss, probably toothbrushes, and all that stuff. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. It's time to get this thing going.
All the hard work has come to fruition for Memphis. They're a 5 seed. I think that shocked a lot of people.
Yeah, no, it certainly shocked me. I was sitting in that conference room, like against, it's kind of crowded, right? The players are in there, the staff's in there, there's a bunch of fans in there. Down in Fort Worth, down in Dickies Arena. And I'm sitting with my back against the far wall, so I can't see the television, but I can see the guys, right? So I'm filming, and I see them stand up, and Jaws are on the floor, and Penny looks kind of stunned, and I'm like, did they get screwed, or did they get, like what happened, right? Like,
right.
With Memphis, you're kind of thinking, oh, maybe they got, screwed or whatever. But,
absolutely.
But no, you look up, and it's a 5 seed. And after all that we'd heard about how much the metrics would factor into that equation, and them being as low as they were in Ken Pom and the net and Bartorvik, like to get a 5 is certainly a blessing, as Penny called it.
What did you think overall of the performance? They had the close games, but able to figure out a way to win them, and then again took care of UAB, pulled away in the end of that one, but overall, the way they played down in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I thought the Tulane game, that's probably the one where the semifinal on Saturday, where you came away from that one, if you're a Tigers fan, and you felt the least good, right? Obviously out of the 3, because of kind of the way that played out down the stretch and having to eke one out against Tulane and needing crucial stops and that kind of thing to put them away. But then to turn around and, after losing your starting point guard and already being down your backup point guard, Dante Harris, and to, really just, like you said, take care of business against UAB, beat them by 12 and just dominate that second half, and dominate defensively. Like, it started on the defensive end, right? They turned UAB over so many times. I think it was 15 turnovers they forced and scored 23 points off of those. Held the Blazers to less than 30% shooting in that second half. They just turned the water off, right, on Andy Kennedy's team. And to see that, that's replicable, right? That travels, right? Like, you can win like that in March, even without Tyrese Hunter. You can't necessarily win in shootouts or when you're kind of going offense first and trying to set things up, but causing chaos, Baraka Koji can do that. Other guys can do that on that team, so that was encouraging, I thought.
I was a little surprised that AK didn't change up maybe his philosophy and do a little bit more what Ron Hunter did on Saturday, really congest the paint and make it extremely hard for Haggerty to drive the lane, because Haggerty was able to get back to that on Sunday and get to the free throw line and do his thing.
Yeah, and I think it started with them kind of junking up the game, right? Like, it would just force turnover for turnover, and then Haggerty would get out and transition with a full head of steam. Either him or even we saw Danger, right? How many times we see Danger,
right?
Almost take it coast to coast and get buckets. So I think it definitely started there, and once that happened, the game kind of unraveled and got away from AK and the Blazers.
Did you think after Saturday's squeak by win, for lack of better terms, over Tulane, which could have went the other way. Did you feel they were going to come back on Sunday and not only win, but win comfortably in the end?
Of course not. I'd be lying to you if I said that, right?
Exactly.
Like, not only did they win, but they won in that kind of dominant fashion where, the celebration had begun among the Tiger fans in Fort Worth with, 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left, whatever it was. Like, the party had started, right, among the Tiger fan contingent down there. But to do that without two of your guys, man, they had 9 available scholarship players when the ball tipped off on Sunday. 9. And you know who 2 of them were? One was Dink Yates, a guy who was a walk-on 3 months ago. Literally 3 months ago, he was a walk-on. Penny gave him a scholarship during the season. And then the second one was Jared Harris, a true freshman who had logged all of 42 minutes coming into Sunday, right? So they really had 7 guys a part of their regular rotation. And to do what they did, I was impressed.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So going in with that in mind, going into the NCAA tournament, again, assuming Hunter doesn't play, we'll see about Harris. So is that group of guys good enough to beat Colorado State, to try and maybe get to the second weekend where maybe then somebody could get healthy?
I think to beat Colorado State, yes, it's not going to be easy. Obviously, Colorado State's one of the hottest teams in the country, as Penny and the players said yesterday. Certainly the hottest 12 seed. Memphis got a 5, but the reward is to go out to the West Coast and play a Colorado State team that's absolutely on fire right now and has a star in their own, right.
You got to play somebody, right?
I mean,
it's the NCAA tournament.
It's the best 68 in the country, right? So you're going to play somebody. But it's unfortunate that somebody is a team that's, so close in proximity to Seattle and also a team that, like I said, is just kind of blazing hot right now. But I do, despite what the betting lines and other stuff suggest, I think Memphis matches up well. Like, Colorado State doesn't really have a lot of size. Like, they've got 2 bigs a part of their regular rotation. One guy's a freshman, one guy's a sophomore. Neither plays more than, I think, 12 and a half minutes a game or something like that, right? I mean, it sounds like Dane Danger and Musaf Cisse could have a field day potentially. But, man, the way CSU plays, offense, the kind of 4 out, 5 out, the ball swinging everywhere.
Great movement, yeah.
Great movement off ball. It's like Neat Clifford is their guy, and he's got 4 shooters around him at all times. It's just amazing to watch. So if they can kind of tighten up the perimeter defense and, play through Dane and play through, not play through Musa, but play through Dane certainly, I think they've got a chance. What I'm concerned about is Maryland, obviously, right? Yeah. Who is the 4 seed in that same bubble that they would see on Sunday if Memphis was to beat CSU on Friday. That's tough. That's really tough without Tyrese Hunter.
Yeah, and don't blame me.
Yeah, Greg.
If it happens, don't blame me. Getting back to what you just talked about with defense, and we've seen Memphis alter defenses as the season has gone by. When they run into trouble, they will fix it. They had the one game in the loss to, was it Wichita State, when they couldn't guard. The guards were having a tough time allowing a dribble drive penetration, then the threes that were hit. How does Memphis's defense stack up against the defenses in the Mountain West? Because that's who Colorado State did most of their damage against.
Yeah, I was looking at who Colorado State, as soon as obviously the opponent was announced, I was looking at Colorado State's resume and, their Ken Pom numbers and everything else. And they really, I don't want to say they haven't played anybody, because that wouldn't be fair, right, to Nico Medved and those guys. But they've only got 3 quad 1 wins, right? And they've played Boise State obviously 3 times, which is a top 50-ish team. They've played, I think, Utah State twice, another top 50-ish team. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of it. That's the list, right? So they haven't really played super kind of juggernaut defenses or super imposing teams, period, I think.
I wonder where they are, though, in the metrics. Those defenses compared to where Memphis is.
Yeah, I do wonder that, because Memphis, as good as we see its defense is in terms of forcing chaos or causing chaos rather and forcing turnovers, Memphis is still 40-something, right?
Is that where they are? Yeah,
adjusted defensive efficiency.
Yes.
It's not like they're top 20 or top 25.
Yeah, I mean, they're very similar to Colorado State. I mean, Colorado State, both offensively and defensively, is similar to Memphis. Your Colorado State is 46th at offense, 51st in defense. Memphis is kind of in those 40s, 50s range. A lot of those teams are. And as Colorado State had Boise State's number, but San Diego State they split with, Utah State they split with. Those other, they lost to New Mexico. Those
lost to
twice.
UC Riverside. I mean, I know that was in November, but UC Riverside. What
beat by 40 last night in the NIT.
I saw them here when they played Ole Miss down at the Landers Center. I was at that game.
Personal, yeah.
And Ole Miss jumped on them early. Ole Miss got up on them really quickly in that game, and then they just never were able to recover from that. Ole Miss came out on fire, and it was that was over really within the first 10 minutes of the game. Colorado State couldn't come back. So, again, yeah, they don't have a whole lot of wins over tournament quality teams. I mean, they got the splits with Utah State and San Diego State, and I don't think they've beaten anybody else. I guess VCU beat them.
Nevada, UNLV, if you want to count those as semi-quality wins, those are like kind of in the 80s and 90s and Ken Palm type teams. Memphis played
beat
UNLV. Yeah, on the road.
I just look, unless Memphis turns it over 20 to 25 times,
or doesn't hit
they've
shots.
done a couple of times. They got to hit shots, and that's why Colby Rogers is extremely important. But the turnovers, because the turnovers wreck a possession. That's less possessions you're getting shots off. Even if they're getting to the free throw line, right? They're usually, unless it's Dane and his issues from the last games, but certainly they're scoring a lot of points on the free throw line. If they're getting to the free throw line, they're doing their job. So I think the one thing that would really do them in is turnovers and wasted possessions. And I don't know, how good are they at forcing turnovers?
Not great. I was looking at that yesterday as I was writing my preview and watching kind of film and watching highlights on CSU. They are 202nd in defensive turnover percentage, which is not obviously great.
Yeah, you don't play the game on paper, but on paper, Memphis wins the game, in my opinion.
The paper tells you a story, though, right? It paints a picture.
But my question to you is Tyrese Hunter worth that many points? If we're assuming that Memphis was made a 2.5 point, now it may be because they're on a 10-game winning streak and they're hot, but Memphis has won how many in a row? 6?
Memphis has won, I believe, 8 in a row.
If they won 8 in a row, they won 10 in a row. So
they're an underdog because the predictive metrics don't like Memphis.
Again, let's
get
away from metrics.
That's how lines are made. How do you think they make the lines? They're trying to predict the outcome of a game. It is predictive metrics.
Well, I would think that people use their intelligence, like the committee ended up doing by putting Memphis in as a 5
lines
seed.
makers they're not just guessing. They're using
they're
computers.
They're using
that's why they're so good.
They're using a lot of things, but I would assume they also use common sense and use their brain and use what they're seeing with their eyes. I imagine
Tyrese Hunter is a sizable loss. Like, he's the top 3 player on that team. Like, I think he's their 3rd most important player.
But that's what I'm asking. Is he would they have been a favorite if Tyrese Hunter was healthy?
I think so. I would say, or it'd be at least be a pick'em.
I think it'd be around a pick'em.
So then he's at least,
or they'd be a 1 point dog.
1.5 point.
Then he's at least a 2.5 3-point difference.
I think so. I mean, wouldn't you say so?
I don't know. It's
when he's on, man. That guy's elite, right? Like,
I know, but a lot of the games they've won because of Haggerty and Danger.
Because of their scoring. But Tyrese Hunter's ability to conduct the offense and settle things down when needed. And
he's a very important part, but we make it sound like they're like dogs without Tyrese Hunter. They just beat UAB by 12.
That's UAB, though.
Well, yeah, it's UAB.
Well,
UAB's a decent team, don't get me wrong, but now we're talking about
Colorado State's not Duke. I'm sorry.
They're also not UAB.
I think the Mountain West is overrated. San Diego State last night lost by 175 points.
Oh, man, to the Tar Heels, 95-68.
Doesn't mean that Colorado State isn't better and will stomp Memphis. Maybe they will.
I don't think they'll stomp Memphis.
Well, my point being, I'm exaggerating everything here. My point being is that I'm not enamored with the Mountain West. And I think that even without Tyrese Hunter, Memphis is a better team. That's my thought. This isn't a homer thing. I'm just looking at through my eyes.
I'm with you. Memphis is a slightly better team without even without Tyrese Hunter. Memphis is a slightly better team on paper than Colorado State, especially like we talked about the bigs. I mean, who's guarding Dane on that team, right?
There's nobody guarding.
I don't see anybody that's
That's why I would
team.
love to see. And this is the question I asked. You were at the press conference yesterday. Well, you might not have been there in time, but
with everything
you eventually got there.
Oh my gosh.
But I asked about. Look, you're not going to change your stripes if you're Penny, but. You wonder if they'd be a little bit slower, just a tad slower and more deliberate, because in the half-court offense, getting the ball into Danger, if he's doubled, kick it out. Hopefully Rogers, when Carter's in the game. Haggerty's not a greatest three-point shooter, but he may have to make a couple. The offense may flow well. If you're playing really revved up, if you're beating them down the court every time you get in transition buckets, you're going to run away with the game. But if you start kicking it into the stands and things like that, settle down, relax, get it to Danger. Let Dane do his thing. They do not have a big, formidable front line.
No, they don't. They don't.
So I wonder if they will clog the middle like Ron Hunter did for Tulane and what Andy Kennedy did not do for UAB.
And force Memphis to shoot, right?
Yes. and prevent Haggerty from going in, or at least trying to prevent Haggerty from going to the hole.
Yeah, no doubt. And their assist numbers are very high. If you look at Colorado State, I think they're 25th in the country in assists. They play that kind of 4 out where everybody can pass the ball, everybody's moving without the ball. But their turnover numbers aren't great. Like, they're prone. They're not horrible, loosey-goosey with the ball, but they're prone to making mistakes. And I don't think they've seen a defense as tenacious as Memphis.
That's what I was asking you
or
earlier.
That style of defense.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
Yes. And they make adjustments on the fly, Memphis does. I mean, look, the question is, for me, if they protect the basketball, or a statement I'm making here, if they protect the basketball, they win. I think it's going to be down to that. Turnovers, I think, is going to be a key. But your guess is Hunter's not playing?
I think it's pretty clear. But they haven't come out and said
What
anything.
about Harris?
Harris, I think, is it's hard to say, right? Yesterday, Penny said that he was like, Dante Harris is progressing, I think he said, quicker than Tyrese Hunter.
That's what he said.
And then with Hunter, he said, hey, y'all know I'm paraphrasing, but he said, y'all know I'm a praying man, but it's going to take prayer and then some, right, to see Tyrese Hunter on the court on Friday. I mean, you were obviously there when he said that. I was at the team send-off over at Laurie Walton Center before I came here, and Harris obviously was without the boot in Fort Worth, the boot that he was wearing after he sustained the high ankle sprain out in San Antonio a couple weeks ago. And the limp he was walking with in Fort Worth, you saw him kind of walking very gingerly out there. It is getting better. It looks like to me. Maybe it's me looking at it through a super optimistic lens or whatever. But,
sure.
It looks like he's walking a little bit better at least.
Well, if it's like a pain threshold thing, you shoot him up and hopefully he's okay. But I don't know if that is. If it's not, and it's something that could really screw him up by going out there and playing, then he won't play. But so you're. And by the way, good crowd today for the send-off?
Pretty good crowd, I thought, yeah.
Okay.
No doubt.
So what is your guess for this weekend?
You want a score prediction? What are you asking for?
Nope. I want tell me if they're going to be playing next weekend.
My gut tells me that they're going to win Friday. And if Maryland is not upset by Grand Canyon, I think the road could end there on Sunday night or whatever, Sunday afternoon. And in Seattle.
All right, fair enough.
What do you think? Let me hear from you.
That's what I think.
Okay.
I think, and it's not because I went to Maryland. I think Memphis is certainly capable of beating Maryland.
At full strength.
I mean, I can give you...
If Tyrese Hunter was playing, I'd be sitting here telling you they're
Maryland
going to
goes to sleep at times. Sometimes they'll go to sleep for 6-8 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, believe me. I've watched enough of my school.
I haven't watched a ton of them. Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, 2009, I covered Maryland and Memphis and Kansas City, and Memphis thumped them back then when Maryland had Gravis Vasquez.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully for Tigers fans, that happens once again. But first things first, and that's taking care of Colorado State. It will not be easy. Parth will have you covered at the Daily Memphian. They're sending out, I think, 30 people to Seattle.
Is this first trip to Seattle?
Yeah, I've never been.
So another first.
Another first. Yeah, checking it off my list.
You're an old veteran in San Francisco if they advance there.
No, exactly. I know all the spots.
Parth has been to every city, I think, in the United States.
You made a lot of trips west. You keep going west this year with them.
No doubt. It's been fun.
Go west, young man. Safe travels.
Thanks, y'all.
We'll talk to you next week, Parth. That's Parth Upajai from the Daily Memphian. We'll take a break, come back with our final segment. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Pennstorf Realtors. I'm often called Shell Done because I sell homes and work with buyers and I get the job done. There are 7 keys to successfully selling your home quickly at a great price. First, call me. I do my research and advise you on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing that gets you the activity to get the best price. Follow my advice and it can happen. I did mention 7 keys to a successful sale, didn't I? Well, if you use the first key, calling or emailing me, you really don't need the next 6 keys. Remember, that's Sheldon Rosengarten at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. If you don't need me now, write it down for later or for a friend. That's Sheldon at 483-0546 at MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, and who knows, you may hear your home advertised here. Remember, as bad a golfer as I am, when selling homes, Sheldon gets it done.
We are ready to meet anyone on your new Hyundai from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Plus, you get America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Listen to this, Mid-South 2024 Hyundai Venue Limited. We Gossett 22,317. How about 2024 Hyundai Elantra Limited? We Gossett 24,997. 2025 Hyundai Elantra SEL Convenience 25,260. And 2024 Hyundai Sonata SEL Standard 26,353. This is what deals are made of at Gossett Hyundai 1870 Covington Pike. Online, HyundaiGossett.com. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
MSRP 25,160. Elantra RU 821,411. MSRP 28,780. Convenience SU 856,185. MSRP 27,020. Sonata RU 415,696. MSRP 29,110. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
The first ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. Unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say, they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just like our Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever pre-season pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. We run at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56.
All right, you need to be quick on the trigger. Caller number two will earn 2 pairs of tickets, or a pair of tickets, not 2 pair, a pair of tickets for Monday's exhibition game between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Memphis Redbirds at AutoZone Park. Caller number 2, 901-360-8255. That's 901-360-8255. Caller number 2, and you're going to see the Cardinals and the Redbirds Monday night at AutoZone Park. Caller number 2, quick on the trigger, 360-8255. TGL semis yesterday, Eli, did you watch?
I did.
Atlanta, all over the Bay Golf Club 9-3.
Yeah, it was a rough go for the Bay Club. They did not play well at all.
Weren't they missing a couple of guys and somebody got hurt? Who was it that got hurt? Wyndham Clark. He wasn't able to play.
Yeah, Clark wasn't. I mean, but they had the other three guys there.
Yeah, but Wyndham is the leader in like a lot of the statistics of the TGL. I can't believe I know that, but that's only because I read about it. I didn't watch. So it's Atlanta and New York, the 3 and 4 seeds. Next week, they'll play a best 2 of 3. I think they play Monday night, and then they'll play Tuesday, and if they have to go to a third match, it will be Tuesday night later.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Okay. Grizzlies tonight. Do you say must win when it comes to trying to finish in the top 3 in the West? Do they have to win this game? They're playing Portland. They're coming off the loss at Sacramento.
I don't think they have to, but it certainly is a very important game to win.
It would behoove them to win?
You don't want to go 0-2 to start this road trip with what is coming up. So yeah, it's a very important game to win.
We have our winner, by the way, for the Cardinals Redbirds tickets. We're going to give away another 2 pair tomorrow, and then on Friday we're going to give away a 4-pack, which will include you will actually go down onto the field and see the Cardinals, and I'm sure you'll be able to get some autographs and watch them with BP. We're going to do that on Friday, but we're going to give away also 2 more pairs tomorrow to the game. Redbirds, Cardinals on Monday. But Grizzlies at 43-26, Trailblazers at 30-39, but not a complete pushover. They have been playing well the last month of the season. Now, Ja's out once again. Santi questionable, Scottie Pippen Jr. questionable, and then Lamar Stevens in recovery. What's he recovering from? When did he get hurt?
In recovery, he's out with
It says recovery on the injury list. I've never seen that before.
I thought it listed an injury.
Do you see it? It says recovery. I've never seen that before. And then also Gigi Jackson is out because he is actually with the Hustle. So we'll see if Santi and Scotty questionable.
Lamar Stevens is right shoulder soreness. Where you're getting recovery is right shoulder.
Yeah, I saw recovery. That was what I saw. So I knew it had to be an injury.
Zion Poland is right patellar tendon surgery recovery.
All right, maybe I got the two. Maybe the two were blended together when I looked at the text I saw, or email I saw. But anyway, injuries, prominent injuries with John Morant being out, with Santi having been out. But what do you think the chances are Santi plays tonight? And Scottie Pippen, both questionable.
I would assume Santi is. He went from doubtful to questionable. That means with the upgrade, he's playing. Scotty, I don't know for sure. We'll see.
All right, you got your 2 games in Dayton tonight. We'll be back tomorrow morning, starting bright and early at 7 a.m. to talk NCAA tournament. The full day tomorrow should be a lot of fun. We'll recap the Grizzlies as well. Kerry Miller at 8:25 from Bleacher Report on the NCAA tournament, and we'll talk a little baseball with him. The Dodgers, by the way, sweep the 2 games in the Tokyo series. They beat the Cubs today 6-3 in that second game. And DeMichael Cole will join us on the Grizzlies tomorrow. Once again, we'll be giving away some Redbirds tickets for the Cardinals and Redbirds on Monday night.
Went over to East Coast Wings for a little lunch yesterday. Talk all the time about it. It's a great place to go watch games, and obviously this week there will be games on from lunch all through the afternoon and into the night through happy hour, everything else. But beyond just watching games, it's a good place to go for lunch or dinner or whatever, for great games or for great food. Had some wings yesterday there. They got great wings, 60 different flavors to choose from. So something for everybody, 7 different heat indexes as well. Had some of their delicious tater tots. The tater tots are fantastic. Fries are really good too, but I'm a tots guy over at East Coast Wings and Grill. Of course, they got 24 draft beers on tap. But so if you're taking the days off Thursday and Friday, maybe this week, especially Friday, you got the Tigers game, and then you got Ole Miss going to be playing right after that for the local fans. But if you're taking the days off, want to just go enjoy some great food while watching the games, head on over to East Coast Wings and Grill, right between Lowe's and Walmart off Highway 64 in Bartlett. That's where you'll find East Coast Wings Wings and Grill.
That'll do it for us today. Coming up next, Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 with Brian Dacus pinch hitting along with Elijah Seegers. For Eli and Elijah, I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.